Good evening, good evening. Welcome to the final Daily Casts. My name's Ed. Thanks ever so much for joining me on what is going to prove to be the most exciting Daily Casts since Friday the 14th of March 2021. Hello, it's me. I've dressed up for the occasion. I'm looking, I would say, like a game show host in the late 80s, early 90s. The jazziest tie I own, with the most garish suit I own. Agree. Yes, I'm looking, I would say, bright. Final for now, right? You should definitely keep streaming. Thanks very much, Goshi. Thanks for the... I'll certainly keep streaming in the future. I might take a week off. Thanks for joining Chaos of 99 as well. Thanks for joining Greg. Thanks for joining Fitvar. Hello in the chat. Jen, good evening. Initeritz, hello. Thanks everyone for coming in. I know there's other streams on at the moment, and I apologise for making your schedules a little bit more challenging than you wanted them to be. But it happens, and I didn't want to let my fabulous guests this evening down on what is going to prove to be a controversial evening, if nothing else. So yeah, the highlight of my day so far is the fact not that, by the way, System Gateway is now out, available to buy. The highlight of my day is that I still can't get my head around what time zone I'm in. I forgot to change my clocks until an hour and a half ago, which panicked Dan this evening. Welcome, Dan. Hello.
Hi. It didn't panic me. I was in the supermarket, and I thought about it for a second and had a sneaking suspicion that daylight savings time happened to you. So that was what happens there. And I did text you, and I was like, "Hey Ed, how does time work?" And then you told me, and then you forgot about it.
So there's this fun moment yesterday when I said I'm going to be really clever, take into account daylight savings, and I'm going to tell you the right time, and we're going to work it all. We're going to work it all out. First thing this morning, clocks change, message you, wrong time. We work it out, and then again, just 2 hours before the stream, message you, wrong time. You are 30% louder than me, but that's because you have 30% more to say, Dan. That's all good. We'll switch those over.
Okay, so I'll just talk a little bit quieter.
No.
I think on the stream yesterday that I was on, I was very quiet, so I tried to shout more. So this time I'll try to be a little bit more quiet there.
No, absolutely.
I'm really sad to you saying that this is your final stream though, Ed. We gotta maybe you can change the name so it's not daily casts, but.
So I was thinking Sweeps Week is a little bit kind of, maybe too quiet now. Oh my goodness. Everyone. Right. That is what it's going to be.
I put on my NPR voice and everyone gets upset. Okay.
I think people are winding me up a little
everyone.
bit. June, we'll get there. June, we'll get there.
No, I'm completely fine to just
I
fade
like
into the background and let June.
I kind of like this. There's the two of us talking, and then June kind of bursts in and goes like, "Hi, I'm here as well."
That's what I did on that podcast I was on.
That podcast, yeah. What's that one? I forget.
Oh, Slumscast. Sorry.
Yeah. So in case you've been living under a rock, which some of us might have been, June Cuervo is the lead designer of Netrunner. June, thanks ever so much for taking the time out of your day to join us on the most daily cast of all.
Yeah, thanks so much.
The most daily stream of Netrunner.
It's the most daily cast.
Yeah.
Until tomorrow.
I think
then
it
won't
is.
be.
Yeah. I'm happy I've gotten to catch quite a few of them. I haven't gotten to catch all of them, but quite a lot. I usually sleep till lately till 2 p.m. So it's like, these streams are at 1 p.m. Pacific time. So I sometimes miss them, but I was actually fortunate to dodge all of the confusion around times because I just woke up and you texted me like, "Hey, we're going on in an hour and a half." I was like, "Great, good, sounds good."
Perfect. that is planned the start of my day. Let's work in reverse. June, do you want to tell everyone a little bit about your Netrunner background, for those who don't know?
Oh, sure. So I played Netrunner probably right around the time Data and Destiny came out, like a little after, after that Worlds, which I guess would have been, oh goodness, 2016. And then I played competitive Netrunner for a while. I won some tournaments, which was cool. Top 16 Worlds with a cool deck or two. Yeah, just overall been a Netrunner player the whole time. And then professionally, I'm a game designer as well. I designed a game called Duelist as the cinematography designer and level scripter on Medieval. And I have another game coming out soon. It was at the last company I worked for. So yeah, I do games for a living and apparently for fun and for free with Nisei as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, you've got to mention your US national champion as well.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Was that 2017? Am I right in saying?
I think so. I don't
Yeah.
really remember. I have the trophy still.
I
It's
think
on
that
my desk.
was an interesting meta if I remember it correctly.
Yeah,
So
I designed combo decks and then I comboed people for a
Yeah.
whole day. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say I designed them. Everybody in San Francisco jointly decided to go to gather and figure out how we could basically make CI work because they had just a RADAD power shutdown.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, how do we get it to work? It's like, and then we were playing the hasty CI deck, and I was like, oh, well, I guess you could just draw your whole
Sure.
deck with like anonymous tips and things, and then that was
Yeah.
how we designed that deck. And then the runner deck was really cool. That's probably the deck I'm most proud of in my whole Netrunner career because it's just so strange.
That's
that's
cold
the silver.
ones, isn't
That
it?
was the silver bullet deck, right?
Yeah.
No, it was cold ones.
Cold
Oh, it
ones.
was cold ones, right?
It was the combo deck.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
So that was like a diaper style deck. But yeah, so I did win nationals, but any one of us could have won nationals because we were all playing the exact same decks. So
Yeah.
there's like
Did you
five
come
of
up-
us, and we all played the same decks.
Did you come up against each other in that nationals?
We actually didn't play against each other at all. I got the like really sick matchup spread of like I literally played against 24/7 sync boom every single game with my runner deck, which is an unwinnable matchup for them. They have like actual
Right.
0% versus me.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
Which is great. That makes the tournament quite easy. And then I played
Yeah.
0 copies of Account Siphon or Keyhole for the entire tournament, except in the finals where I only had to win with my runner, and he was playing 24/7 sync boom. So I kind of like, I say I won nationals, but my decks kind of like played themselves a lot of the time, which is, I'm still very proud of it because that was like a good example of where I have strengths as a Netrunner player, which is figuring out how to attack a specific meta.
Sure. And I suppose it's one thing to say you had good matchups, but it's another thing to play them in starting out professional poker terms. You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. Am I right?
Oh, for sure. You're totally right, Kenny
Yeah.
Rogers.
Thanks. Thank you very much. That's it for me on poker. And Dan, maybe a little introduction to yourself as well. How many national championships have you won?
Yeah, about that. So I'm not really much of a super competitive player. In fact, so I started playing Netrunner in 2015, 2014, whenever Data and Destiny came out. Very much a casual player. We had we played lunch runner at my office back at the time. So we instead of eating lunch, we all just played Netrunner. There was like 4 of us, which was great. And then eventually I moved on from that job and realized there was a big meta in my area. So joined that, store champs and whatnot. Never really won a big event, but have moved on to play a lot online now with JNet and being more of a community interacting person. Yeah, that's me. I also run our website called nearethub.net, which is a link repository that is meant to help new players find resources for Netrunner stuff.
Yeah, if anyone, I can't believe anyone hasn't that is still watching me after 28 days. If you haven't, good evening, Cooker. Good evening, Manvarapati as well. Thanks for joining. Thanks so much. If you haven't been over to Near Earth Hub is... I remember actually when you first started doing Near Earth Hub, I think you mentioned it somewhere. And I sent you across the Google Doc that I've been doing, which was kind of like 6 bullet points of some streams that people should watch and a podcast. And I sent it across to you and I said, Dan, I think this is going to be really helpful for you. And then a week later, I saw Near Earth Hub, and to say it was embarrassing is yeah.
Well,
But
what ended up happening was I found myself as someone that likes to collect alt arts in the community. And there's a big group of people on Slack that creates alt arts, and I kind of became a little bit of like a quasi like hype man for that group. And I put together a nice link repository for them using a very simple website. And that just had like a list of URLs for people to go see their stuff. But it was just like a text site. It didn't have any images or whatnot. So one day I was like, I could just buy a domain, host it on Google Sites for free, and it'll look better than anything we have right now. Why don't I do that? And then I realized, well, if I'm putting all this work in just for the alt art stuff, why don't I put it for all Netrunner content?
Yeah. And could you post that in the chat as well, Dan? Being asked, please. Excellent. Thanks, Greg.
Oh yeah, I'm also known for my Netrunner chicken alt arts, which I'm not gonna like explain because I can't. I literally can't explain why they exist.
Bushi in the chat, thanks for joining.
Oh yeah.
I think Near Earth Hub's probably like the second thing I'd point any new players to, and I think you've done a wonderful thing for the game, Dan. After the Nisei website, the second place I send them is Near Earth Hub. Thank you.
So one thing I changed about the website last week is I moved the token section from the artist colony page to the main page. So that somebody asked me about that because with Gateway coming out, and maybe this is a nice segue over to, Gateway Day.
It might be
Gateway. I wanted to make sure that it was easy for people to see. Here are the tokens you can use with the game. So I know a lot of people like to enhance their play experience with some nice acrylic tokens or whatnot. Well, those are on the site as well with a bunch of options, including one I saw today of someone that made some really slick 3D printed ones. So go check that out.
They've just gone up, haven't they? The 3D printed. I know the
so nice and
very colourful 3D printed ones. Is that the one?
Not everyone has a 3D printer, but if you do, check those out. Those are beautiful.
Yeah.
Does anybody have a 3D printer?
I have
some
two.
People do.
I have
wow.
You have two.
I've never seen a 3D printer.
Dragoonkin on Slack has like 6, 5.
Isn't that like Dragoonkin's job though? Isn't it?
No, I just got him into 3D printing, and he just dove in face first.
Wow.
Oh, that's rad. Will you print me some tokens, Dan? I'll pay you.
Oh, I will. So in terms of equipment to make tokens, I just got a laser cutter in yesterday, which will be used to be making tokens. So a little bit of I'm gonna have a storefront up for people, but the idea is to have some very nice laser cut poker chip size tokens. So those are gonna come soon.
So speaking of poker chips, right? So you got a 3D printer. June, you frequent a casino. You've been known to go to the casino and play some poker. My question is, if you took a picture, June, of the poker chips, right? Hear me out. And then Dan were to, let's say, 3D print some poker chips. He's a very talented man. I mean, is there a way of stopping this from happening?
Is this VOD being recorded?
No.
We'll talk about this later. We can talk about this later.
Yeah, we'll do it offline. You don't have to bring it up here,
Yeah, in fact, it's a bad idea, and
it's a terrible idea.
That can't happen.
Idea.
No, actually, for real,
way.
I can't 3D print. Those are very much. But I do want to see. I am trying to find if there is a way to source casino dice blanks, because I love the feel of casino dice, but I want to etch in some nice symbols on them.
That would be cool. I use casino dice for Netrunner.
Yeah, I do too, just because they're just like they're very solid. They're not gonna tip over, and they're very easy to read.
And
they're large. June,
you obviously played in MTG before you played in Netrunner as well. What what would your like tournament equipment advice be to the chat?
Oh, tournament equipment. I think the main thing you need to bring is water.
Yeah, you need a water bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the amount of tournaments I've not brought water is very high. I have like ADD, and I just like space out on bringing stuff like pretty often everywhere I go, and it's just one of those things where, water, just water. I think everything else you know to bring snacks. Yeah, I like bringing like Brian Cronin used to bring like little jars of nuts and share them with everybody, and he's basically a living legend as a result.
Yeah.
You can bling out your set, and you can have like fancy tokens and in a bunch. You can get orbits tokens. You can get like the nicest playmat and everything, but legitimately like your comfiest pair of underwear, a nice water bottle, some snacks. That's what you need.
Jen in the chat saying, Jen in the chat said they said just bring water, not how. It just falls from my fingers all the time. Algebraic, thanks for joining as well. You buy one, then print the others. Yeah, exactly. Just copy and paste. All right, well, we will talk about my let's call it a get rich quick scheme of printing poker chips. Because if you print them in the US and then ship them over to me in the UK, then I can lose them over here unsuspiciously.
I think we shouldn't be going into such extreme detail of this plan.
June, I like this plan because it just gets Ed in trouble.
Oh, it doesn't get us in trouble at all. Yeah, because we have no idea what Ed's doing. Right?
I'm willing to take the risk.
Wants them, right?
I think we should convince Whiteblade to do this.
Yes. Yeah.
Whiteblade. For those who don't know, I'm disappointed Whiteblade's not in at the moment. It's probably because he's playing poker.
No, Whiteblade actually is working right now. I know Whiteblade's working right now because he still has to pick his next round in Snake Draft.
Oh, really? Is he in your draft?
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
Has it got around to you yet? Has it got around to you yet, Dan?
It did. So my first round Snake Draft, what did I pick? I ended up picking. Oh shoot! What did I pick? I've blanked out right now. So for those that don't know, the Boswash meta, which is the Boston, Washington, DC meta, that's our name. We're running a Snake Draft. There's 3 pods going of 8 players right now, and he did pick. So Whiteblade picks Boomerang. I picked Penny Shaver as my first pick.
That's a wild choice. Wow.
I think I want to play with new cards. It's not like I'm not playing optimally here. I was gonna do something Shaper specific, but then Rozeki and Aesop's Pawn Shop were both taken for me, so I figured I'm gonna dip my feet into Creme and do a little bit of run based criminal. Unless you are on my Snake Draft pick list, in which case I'm actually picking Penny Shaver for value and then going to be going into Anarch.
Cooker in the chat, having picked Rashida first round, a little bit upset that you're talking about Snake Draft in the chat. Phil, Zeroth Maxima, a big snake, I will quote you on that. And BCSJ, what do you use for snake drafting? We've got a lovely snake draft sheet, thanks to Analyze Chris, I believe.
Chris is a spreadsheet legend and has created
absolute wizard.
The most beautiful snake draft spreadsheet, and I'm going to ask him after the stream if I can put that on Earth Hub because like a copy of it, obviously. So let me just read out this corp draft for first pick.
Okay.
And we're waiting on one person. First pick, Cyberdeck Sandbox. Just first of all,
don't put names.
I think surprised everybody and just got everybody like, okay, this is the game that's gonna be. So it's Cyberdeck Sandbox, Rashida, third pick Hard Hitting News, fourth pick Anoetic Void.
Ooh, big choice.
Coming to this is just like, okay, so there's two people.
That's a playtester in fourth. That's a playtester in fourth position.
That's Chris.
There we go. Told you.
Yep. Yeah. So two econ picks, and then immediately like Hard Hitting News and Anoetic Void are just like pure. Like, okay, I'm gonna pick how I win immediately.
Yeah. Win cons. Let's go.
I saw both Anoetic Void and Hard Hitting News in front of or in back of me, and said, well, they can't get those cards back, so I picked Spin Doctor.
Nice. Yeah. Hey, I think that's top 8 cards in Netrunner at the moment.
Yeah, and then we got Whiteblade picked Border Control, and then Cody picked Global Food Initiative, and we're still waiting on our 8th for round 1. But snake drafting is so much fun.
Yeah.
Like 9 a.m., people woke up and were just like, "All right, first pick, let's go," because we were waiting on these cards to come out. We were waiting
It's
on
so
Gateway to
exciting.
launch.
It's so exciting. I know, like, drafts that I've done in the past that have been worldwide, where I like wake up in the middle of the night just to see if the Australians have made their pick yet, or if like the Californians had. It's very, very cool. I recommend to everyone do a snake draft at some point, and hit me up if you need a sheet, or Dan or June. Should we talk about some Netrunner cards? We're 30 minutes in, and we haven't talked about the fact that it's the first day that System Gateway is released. We finally got there after a month of scoops, over a month of scoops.
Yeah, because we had two sets came out, right? So we had Update and Gateway both had scoops.
Yeah.
Let me pull up JNet right now. Okay, so we have 52 games going on JNet in casual.
No, we don't.
10,
no way.
10 in competitive.
Really?
Yeah,
52?
A Canadian, like a Toronto tournament today? I don't actually
There's
know.
there's a small Toronto tournament, yeah. And there's Lockdown.
Yeah, there's a Toronto tournament.
Yeah. BCSJ saying working on a website for snake drafting currently. Has my audio just dropped?
Oh, that's sick.
Oh, no, we're good. It's just the background noise went. Cool. And Texas are playing as well. Wow, no, it's
sick. That's great.
50 games and 5 waiting for games and another 10.
Those are some brave
world
tournament
numbers.
Organizers.
Oh, I know.
Those are some brave tournament organizers trusting that there wouldn't be bugs day one with cards or JNet, which there were actually bugs that caused a couple of rounds to fizzle and they had to restart, I think.
Yeah, it's just amazing to see. And that's an absolute hats off, I think, to the Nisei team in general. I know Greg's in the chat. Greg did a lot of the design work on this set, so congratulations to Greg for this.
Greg was the set's lead designer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And did all of what I view as like the sort of most important work as a lead designer, which is the product design.
Okay.
That's sort of figuring out what a set's vision is and like how it's perceived by people and what like the point of its existence is on some level, right? And then working to make sure that all the different pieces of the set align with those pillars and visions established by the design lead. So Greg gets credit for originating the product and working really hard to make sure all those pieces are in place.
Yeah. And yeah, I can't believe it. This is like world's numbers that we're seeing here. It's absolutely brilliant to see. And just seeing the names on here, there's some cool games. I'd like to jump in one. It's Bowsy from GLC. Jin, thanks for joining. But we're here to talk about cards.
So it's hard.
Sorry, no,
so it's
Dan,
hard
please.
to see the numbers. So it's hard to see the numbers on make playing cards. But if you go to drive through cards right now, under hottest titles, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of the top 10 are all Nisei.
No.
Like, it's a great launch.
Hottest titles
of Gateway.
Everything. You got like Boss Monster up there, Pathfinder, Ascension, Doomtown.
Oh yeah, there's some good stuff, but everyone's hammering drive-through cards for it. We should have probably warned them that this was coming, but I don't know if their printers are ready for it. But
it's not. It's struggling to load.
They're professionals.
They're professionals, yeah.
They'll find a way. It's struggling to load because of all the people who want to go buy Nisei cards.
Yeah.
It's 1, 2,
Flooding
3,
the server.
4, 5, 6. Curse of Castle Ravenstein at 7. We'll deal with that later. 8, 9, and then 10. But then also 13 and 14 as well. And by the way, if you're not adding on, if nothing else, the 2020 World Champion Pack, you're missing out. That was the first thing I added on. I'm going to have to hide my order from my family. It's going to be quite large. But as long as I sign it off as prizes, as work prizes, I can claim it against tax. Just another thing that I'm admitting to on the last stream that I can go and hide. Yes.
Just got to get it all out before you take your break, you know.
There's so many things that I've needed to tell people, and I can finally tell them. It's a tax fraud is definitely one of them. Bloom just bought Update and Gateway. Looking forward to getting them in my hands. Absolutely. So the Bristol group alone, so a small city in the UK, a medium-sized city in the UK. We're up to 30 orders of Gateway. Everyone ordering multiple sets. June, what are you going to do with all this money?
Oh, I don't know. I think I was just going to retire. What with my Scrooge McDuck piles of Gateway money.
Have you considered just taking all of Nisei's money and just putting it on red or black?
Oh, that's a pretty smart idea, right? Because then we could double the amount of money we have in our organization.
I've heard that if you lose, you just bet twice the amount the next time, and you just keep on doing that.
It's a logical
forever.
fallacy.
No, I know. I'm joking. I'm joking. Yes. Do you make playing cards? Take poker chips? Unsure. It depends. But maybe we could print coins. Something to consider.
Make playing cards makes poker chips.
Ooh.
But no, they do. It does cost a good amount of money for them though, so they're not cheap.
Mike, thanks for joining. Oh, but I couldn't read who it was because my curse was over it. Ian, thanks for that. Yeah, I think I might be contacting Make Playing Cards tomorrow. OP Boat, please. Oh yeah, Boat is OP. True. And Boromir, thanks for joining. Yeah, I got some real hot chips if anyone wants to swap Gateway sets for chat pause due to scroll. For swap Gateway sets for it. For hot chips. Excellent. Jin, thanks for joining. Let's talk about cards. We're only half an hour in. So.
Yeah. So
last day.
What was there?
Last day. Let's scroll through. Right. Let's talk about faction by faction. If there's new cards, let's go into them in a little bit more detail. Anarch. June, how pleased are you with how Anarch's planned out over Gateway? Any highlight
Anarch
cards?
Was the faction. My favorite Anarch card in the set is Botulus, but I would say that Anarch was the faction that needed. I would say Anarch and Shaper are the ones that were pretty much done when I joined Nisei, and I didn't really make any suggestions to change. And I think it's just because they're very cohesive and their designs overall just like sort of naturally all fit together, the direction that Greg gave. So yeah, no, I'm really excited with Anarch. Botulus being my favorite just because I think it's such a unique take on a parasite-like virus effect in the sense that it sort of lets you bypass an ice for free repeatedly. And it has a lot of cool, interesting interactions with lots of different kinds of ice. Yeah.
And actually, it's proved to be quite powerful as well.
Yeah, it's very good. It's a lot of people, I think, were kind of down on it when they saw it, but it kind of just says, like, some ice, it literally just, like, deletes when you install it on them. So it's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, once per turn, you can run through this ice for free. Quite good.
Yeah.
It also has some interesting synergies that you might not immediately think of just like the companions from Ashes, right?
Sure.
So you're making runs every couple turns. You're building up that money while you're doing the same thing. You're building up a couple viruses and you're making a really big impact run. If you want to do it that way.
Yeah. So you think you see this even in a deck like Keiko and like a full set of companions? Are we going to see Fence Fuema out in the wild?
I mean, I just got an awesome alt art pack of all the companions, so I'll probably make that work for like a GNK or something once we can play in person. But
while we're talking about alt arts, Dan, your stream yesterday, honestly, thanks so much for organising that. I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I believe it's going up on the Nisei website as well. Is it up?
It'll go up on YouTube. It'll go up on YouTube.
On the YouTube.
Yeah.
And if people, before I forget, if people were maybe putting in an order for some cards on drive-through cards or Make Playing Cards over the next few days, I'm not sure if anyone will be or not. Is there any way they could possibly add some alt arts to their order?
They can. So I think that even if there is people that are making orders on drive-through cards, the way that Make Playing Card shipping usually works is it mostly scales by how much you buy. So you're not getting a ton of you're going to get a savings, but it's not going to be a ton, right? So I think if you're getting cards, it's even a good opportunity if you're going to buy things through drive-through cards because it's cheaper on shipping in the U.S. Or you want to support Nisei more because drive-through cards does give a better cut. You can still go on make playing cards, where it's just where all the alt artists are. And get some cool cards. If I'm going to give a shout out right now, it's going to be to the Aniteris. Is that how you pronounce his name?
I've always
He
said
has a great
Aniteris, but yeah.
yeah. So his alt arts is he has a full set of Rain and Reverie, every single card alt art. So if you are someone that is new to the game and you want to get some cards and you're buying. If you're buying System Update and Gateway and Ashes, you can bundle in basically fully alt art, Rain and Reverie, and Kampala Ascendant, the first pack of the Katara cycle, also is on there. It's insane how much you can just go on make playing cards and you can get so much of a collection of Netrunner just right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think quite a lot of new people do watch this, a lot of new players. That's something really I'd recommend. Rain and Reverie might cost you up of $150. Ping on. Honestly, the quality of Aniteris's alt arts on the Rain and Reverie set is magnificent. And
the amount of time you put into those is insane.
Ridiculous. And I believe Aniteris is working on Down the White Nile, what's it called? Katara Cycle at the moment. With a lot of help from Kvitvo in the chat, among others, on GLC. So,
segueing back to Anarch, Kat Shen, Kaisra, who did the art for all of the cyberspace Anarch cards, did a stream today. There should be a VOD of that on their channel.
It was wicked. Yeah,
going over some of the process.
I watched an hour of it, and it was just I couldn't believe for example, cookbook, like. The attention to detail on. Can I just pull this up and these pages here? So there's like a working model of a book, and Kat, they can like fold the pages out as many pages as they want to have the book like half open or open to one side, and just to it was just like for someone who's not artistic,
very talented. Yeah,
phenomenal.
So you've probably seen Kat's alt arts before. Kat has 6 cards in this set. Actually, all the cards that are on the screen right now are Kat's. They are an animator by profession, so it makes sense when you saw like how Buzzsaw was created. If you watch that stream, a mixture of digital art and 3D modeling, really cool.
No, it was phenomenally good. Again, if people need links and they want to go back and watch this stuff, give me a shout. Manveropity, I bought 30 of cryptograms stim hacks when I bought them. And I've handed them all out. I've only got one set additional left. And they're one of my favourite alt arts of all time. Yeah, so I fully agree. But have a look through. Watch the VOD.
There was a couple alt artists that said they were going to be making stuff, which I knew was going to be rotating, and I like quietly told them not to do that because I didn't want them to be working on things that weren't going to come out.
Yeah. And what was nice yesterday, and we will get back to actual cards, Gene. I'm sorry you're sidelined slightly, but I've got the opportunity to talk to alts. Yeah. We were talking about. I was talking to Shipman, and Shipman saying that. They're going to go back and do the other Wonders cards as an alt art set for Nisei patrons. Potentially.
That's awesome.
Certainly a suggestion. Go.
That sounds pretty cool.
Very cool. Yeah, because I'm a big fan of Shipman Headcrab's alts. So, yeah.
What I learned yesterday, I didn't realize it. I realized it for some of the factions, but I didn't realize that every single faction had a single artist doing all the cyberspace stuff. So obviously, Kaiser did all the Anarch. If we go down to Shaper, it's all Ligas, but so on and so forth. So Shipman Headcrabs, Ollie did all of
Jack
the
Reeves
Valence.
through Jack Reeves with we'll get there, but some of my favorite
it gives a certain style,
Liga.
cohesive style to the set.
It does. It does very much. You look at the cards and you just know like the Anarch. They've got an Anarch feel to them because the feel is through the cards and the consistency. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, Kat did an incredible job on the Anarch cards. I love Leech. It's my favorite art in the set, I think.
Leech is your favourite. Yeah, I keep on changing my
And
mind
way
what my
they
favourite
did-
art is, and that's Testament. Sorry, Dan.
The
please.
way they did the art, I think what they said is that because it's in sections, right? And they showed a little video of it, just like here's all the background, and then we add the leech in at the end. I was thinking, like, is it possible to put that leech like hanging off of a harmonica, or like maybe something like?
Yeah, I don't know how they'd feel about us that'd be like really funny, but there's probably like a lot of ways to do that because the leech is like the last piece.
Right, so you could just have it hanging off whatever. So as long as
so how long is it until the license runs out for Nisei with Cat's art, and we can basically, as far as I'm concerned, abuse things in that art, their art, and just put them wherever we want as memes? Because at the moment, obviously, there's license issues. We don't want to mess around too much.
One thing I saw on Slack today was Kat was mentioning how the way they modeled Botulus was that they can make it so that the tentacles move just in the 3D model program. So I asked one of the JNet devs if it's possible to add this is going to be controversial. I call them GIFs, not GIFs. But could you add a GIF as a card image? And the answer, I think, the way that JNet set up is yes. So
Ooh.
You do realize they are GIFs.
Are we doing foils? Is that where we're going with this?
We could do foils on JNet. We could do moving cards on JNet.
They are GIFs, by the way. They are GIFs. You're right.
Okay,
Everyone
good.
else is wrong.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I didn't want to start a fight with Ed.
No,
but I'm glad.
no, you won't fight with me.
Don't
worry. Don't worry. I've got your back. That sounds very exciting. Yeah. Awesome. Criminal cards.
There's no new criminal. Okay.
Criminal. So Criminal, obviously the faction that didn't need a boost, got many boosts with a great kind of good stuff ID, let's say, with econ options, with red team, slightly overcosted, some may say.
I don't think it is.
No, I don't think it is really. I think it's about right.
I've been playing it quite a lot, and I think the thing with econ that we're trying to do more of is just make it so they're not universally played, or like you just don't always snap off every econ card you draw every single time. And I think that's one nice thing about red team is like you do have to have some awareness of when you choose to play it and like the matchup and like various factors like that. So I think it's like achieving the overall goals for us, at least in terms of how we like to see econ going forward, is that there's like a little more thoughtfulness in terms of how you play it.
Yes.
And there's just more econ options in general. So if we go back to the reason I talked about my snake draft earlier, right, is that usually it's good in snake draft to take some econ options early. Well, now there's more econ options, and what should you pick? Like, there's so many different things that you can choose based on your deck. So it's not just an auto snap pick of something. You can really choose what you want your deck to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other standout cards for you in the criminal faction? So for me, okay, Docklands Pass, absolute winning card in Adam, right? Because all of a sudden you've got a legwork in Adam, haven't you? And like, that's quite strong. Every time you run HQ and breach, you've got a legwork. That's not bad.
Okay,
Adam.
so if Adam, so you've heard it here first, chat. If Adam gets strong, everyone just start putting snares in all your decks.
There you go.
Yeah, and now that Beach Party's rotated, how will Adam get a larger hand size? Who knows?
Yeah. We'll talk about that later, actually.
We will do. In fact, we'll talk about it quite soon. But first, Brian Cronin. Confirmed or denied Brian Cronin on the Arcation?
I am not the art director for Nisei. I cannot confirm or deny, but that is a...
I'll confirm.
You know.
Yeah.
Bears a striking resemblance.
Yeah.
Gene, you
I was
know
trying to
Brian.
find.
You know Brian Cronin quite well, don't you? You live near to.
Yeah, we used to play in the same meta, and we'd prepare for
Yeah.
tournaments together.
Yeah. So
Now
can you
Brian has
confirm?
said. No, what was the question?
No, sorry. I was just going to ask Jean if she had any inside information, but Dan, sounds like you have inside information.
Well, I was watching the stream a couple weeks ago, and Brian has confirmed that he will drink all his LaCroix going forward from a straw if we can find one with that exact bend and that length. So,
I think
if
in
anyone has
particular,
a hookup for a square straw, let me know.
do you think it's even square, or is it actually slightly longer on the extension than it is on the down?
I think it's definitely not normal for a 21st century
No.
straw user.
Look, I'm just going to throw this out there. I think that's just a normal bendy straw, but they did it backwards. That's my take.
Oh yeah, just so chill.
I think you could totally just do that right now.
Someone handed him this drink, and he has no idea how to use a straw.
No, he has a headset on. He's not.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Not even paying
Yeah.
attention to his straw, and
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
He's
it's
like drinking a beverage in VR, and getting the physical body experience alongside it.
And aren't, dare I say, disposable plastics the ultimate dream, where we can once again drink through a straw that is plastic and throw it away afterwards without worrying about killing Earth.
That's
and
biodegradable.
perhaps
Yeah.
it's biodegradable, or just the VR
there's no more
headset.
turtles.
It's the one thing he said. I want a virtual reality straw that's plastic, just so I can dispose of it as I want. Like, technology's advanced so far. VRcation's a really good card as well, by the way.
It is.
In case anyone didn't know. Yeah.
It's
full
not a
card.
snap included in every deck, but it is one that
No.
is if your deck can use it, it's a good card.
Yeah. Jen with the hot takes. We all hate the soggy paper straws. Yes, I also hate baby dead whales. So, balance has to be
good.
found. Yeah. Look, I think the big story from Shaper for me is that there is econ in faction that is decent. And Tao's pretty nuts. And I think between
Can
the
I
two,
say- I'm gonna-
Oh, go ahead.
Go June. Talk about Tau.
Oh, I was just gonna say I think Tau is probably the best ID in the set.
Well,
overall,
everyone's read the Netrunner DB reviews on Tau. Everyone knows.
Everyone knows we ruined Netrunner.
Right. If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, go to Netrunner DB and search Tau and look at the reviews. There's some opinionated people on there.
Yeah, Tau in general, I think, is going to be our sort of, reg shaper, I guess, going forward. And I would anticipate that, if you're just looking to build, a good, solid shaper deck, Tau is usually going to be the ID you choose to play.
It's going to be like what Criminal used to be when Leela was
Andy.
Pretty powerful.
Yeah,
or Andy, yeah. Now, I am of the opinion that I'm just going to let smarter people build Tau decks, and I'm just going to be building some woo jank until someone finds something fun to play, and I'm going to steal their deck.
This is my general policy as well. I just wait for Greg to send me a shaper deck usually.
It's a good idea. Yeah.
I think we're up to about 20 comments on Tau at the moment.
There's more than that. I think it.
I'm happy to read the comment aloud, but it's pretty great. It's definitely worth reading.
Can I read it? Do you mind? I've got it up on screen at the moment.
Oh yeah, please do.
So, this is from Squash957. Squash957 finished 5th/6th at US Nats 2015. So very good player. This might be a slightly longer stream than usual, everyone. We've gone halfway through the cards. We still have a competition to judge. But let's face it, we've got nothing else to do tomorrow. It's only a Monday. This post reads from Squash957. The design of this card is so egregious that it made me log into an account I haven't accessed in years. I was fairly intrigued looking at some of the reworked core set cards in the System Gateway set. as they often seem to grok the ways in which the original cards were either too efficient or overbalanced. This card, on the other hand, abuses a disruptive technique that ANR made prohibitively expensive with good reason. It's almost difficult to describe the magnitude of how game-breaking this ID is, because designing it requires a fundamental lack of knowledge of how Corp functions in regards to ice. This attacks multiple pieces of ice, oftentimes in multiple servers, at the control of the runner, and is triggered by either player directly interacting with their win condition. The amount of time and resources it will take the Corp to mitigate the damage done by this ability text is potentially insurmountable. I'm in genuine awe that any amount of playtesting would allow this ID to survive with the text it currently has. At best, this ID is an aberration of design philosophy that somehow escaped correction in testing. At worst, it's a warning against once again getting emotionally invested into a game that remains dead.
Okay, Ed, you're a playtester. How dare you? How dare you let this slip by?
I know.
You're fired, Ed. I'm sorry.
You should have seen the previous versions. I have done a little post. If anyone fancies a laugh, do read. Yeah, okay, so Pants replied, lol.
That I think kind of says it all, right?
I think it says it all. There's some great replies there. I
mean, from a serious point of view, it's very easy for someone that has been playing the game for a while but has taken a break to not understand what the current meta and design philosophies of the game look like, right? Like, a lot of the cards that came out post 2015, there was definitely I hate the term power creep, but their ice got stronger, right? The game changed in fundamental ways, and it's going to take a while to get back to change to a different point of view. But if you're taking what you think was your views on Netrunner from 2015 and talking about it now, it's going to be different. So this person definitely has opinions of their, it seems like they had a good understanding of the game. But they're not really taking into account what the game looks like now, or what just how much playtesting does go into these cards, especially IDs, right? Like, playtesters spend a lot of time testing the IDs themselves.
Gene, anything to add on that? How do you feel about bad negative takes, or hey, people have opinions as well? It's not for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, my general policy is I'm not a very reactionary designer, so I kind of just sort of take it all in stride and like try to continue. Like, I mean, there's a difference between like someone having a take. I mean, clearly this person's so impassioned that they accessed an account. I mean, I guess breached an account they hadn't in years.
Breached, yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Decided to write this comment, which, I mean, at risk of ridiculing anyone, which I never want to do, I think the comment's probably a little bit misguided, and it's cool. I mean, there's a good, like, if the comment thread on this was like a lot of people agreeing, then I would probably be a little bit more alarmed. But the comment does read a bit like a copy pasta, right? So it's just sort of hard to take it too seriously.
Yeah. Now, if the commenter is watching this, I want to let you know I did bookmark that comment. I saved it, so in case you are right, we can say that you're like. I don't think that
this
you're right.
This was the person.
It's a Alston fine card, but
Nostradamus
case,
2.0. Yeah. No. Yeah. Hey, playtest has been wrong before. Who knows?
Anywho, no, yeah, I mean, it's okay. I mean, people should always give their takes on things and their feedback without too much fear or worry. It's just like negativity is as useful as positivity, and very often one of the most useful marks, at least for me, in terms of evaluating like the success of a design, is that opinions are varied and not unison. I think it's just sort of like kind of always a failure when a card is just like universally good and there's no gradient in opinion. I do like to see more cards that or like universally bad, no gradient in opinion. I do like to see cards that have some polarization in opinion, if not about their power level, but like their impact on the game.
I think we can do a better. Maybe this would be a good idea for an article in the future. And yes, I am signing someone else to do work right now. But I think that a lot of people don't understand that how what the playtesting process is like, and where design to finish card, what that looks like, and how many iterations things go through. Because I think the major thing on this comment is the assumption that there was poor testing and something went by.
Yeah. So to be perfectly clear, we're always going to miss stuff. Always. The expectation internally is that we will miss stuff. And it's also our sort of general policy that if we have a full picture of what the meta is going to look like, because our testing is so thorough and so precise, it's very likely we've just released a lot of boring content that is going to be solved and figured out very quickly.
It sounds like a boring game, because at best, all your playtesters are going to start publishing their decks, and that's just going to be the only decks that get played.
Of course.
Yep. So we do try to like take risks that we know are risks ahead of time. You know, we don't want to like, and not only that, like we're just going to miss stuff. Like we're just going to like, there's just going to be cards that come out, and we thought they were worse than they are, and then they're going to be really good. But that's like part of the joy of the game. You know, it's part of the exploration.
There's like say 50 playtesters and 600 people actively like regularly playing Netrunner. There's a lot more people to find the gaps than you know. Of course. That said, it was a good read, and they read.
It's fantastic.
So while we're speaking of Shaper, I have an apology to make to June right now. About a couple of months ago, I gave a very in-depth kind of like, hey June, here's my thoughts on the next set, the cards in the next set after Gateway, and I was like, one of the things that is really struggling right now with Shaper is that there's no daemon, there's no hosting thing, completely forgetting that DZMZ Optimizer was a card. So I'm just like, let me go through and be like, I'm really disappointed that I'm not seeing anything important right now in terms of daemons, and just completely forgetting that this card exists.
How am I meant to do Shaper bullshit if I haven't got the MU to do it? Well, now you have.
It's just staring at me right in the face.
Guess what?
It's just like, I really miss Deck Deer. Can we please have it back?
Simul chip, infection as well. There's going to be a lot of people messing around with DZMZ or DZMZ or DZMZ Optimopsy as is the official name. Yes.
Sometimes I go into the UK. Sometimes I go into the UK Slack and I see a funny name of a card and it just it sticks.
Temmie J and DZMZ Optimopsy. Yeah.
Yep.
I thought that was quoted on the chat here, but hopefully it will stick. Neutral cards.
Hey, that's a new card.
This one.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about a couple of these, right?
We found a new card. T400 Mem Diamond, a 2-cost hardware chip. Because chips, you know, a chip because it gives you +1 MU or maybe more. So if you see +1 MU on a card, you know. Thanks ever so much, Kat, and thanks for your stream earlier. I've really enjoyed it. I've been sending people across to you. If it's got +1 MU written on it, you know it's going to say chip. So T400 Mem Diamond, +1 MU, you get +1 maximum hand size. It is not unique. You can bang 3 of these down in Adam, and you're already at 6. You're drawing for fun. Let's go. Get your overminds.
I love the flavor text on this.
Right?
It's like reference. LDS still holds the patent, but good tech attracts knockoffs, because this is a knockoff of another card, and that's completely fine.
It's very knowing. It's very little on the nose. Cool art as well, actually, and a very different style to a lot of stuff that I've seen. So Lizveta Sokolova, not an artist I've seen a lot of through the set, but really
Look
cool.
Up
maybe Elizaveta Sokolova.
I'll look them up while we talk about other stuff.
Because
that is an artist that I'm unfamiliar with, but Crumbler has so many artists in the hopper or on deck to do art that can't remember them all.
Yeah, from a mini faction fan, I love it as well. I think it's a super cool mini faction card. Verbal plasticity, I think, is going to be a little sleeper hit. Personally,
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't spoil this one ahead of time. I think this card's quite good.
I think it's pretty good, and I think it's probably gone under the radar because it's neutral. Gene, do you want to talk about this card at all?
Sure. So I think everybody's familiar with the baby from Netrunner's Past, also a genetic resource that costs 3. It says when you draw a card, you gain a credit the first time. So this is just a riff on that, where you're getting an additional card instead of a credit. In general, just like engine-based card drawing or like sort of consistent additional card drawing has been quite powerful in Netrunner. So, I think this card's quite a bit better than the baby, but certainly no Wildside Chronotype or anything like that, but still very, very good.
Yeah, it's not an engine in itself, is it? That said, it boosts Class Act, stuff like even edge case cards like Blueberry Diesel that don't see a lot of play. I think suddenly you get a lot better here. The baby's symmetrical visage for those that don't know.
Basic action card to draw cards. So Blueberry Diesel is not a combo.
Oh, sorry, the basic action to draw a card.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, of course. But so combos with Class Act though.
So going back to Elizaveta Sokolova, they only have one card in System Gateway, which is Memory Diamond. However, if you are familiar with cards in Uprising and Downfall, a lot of hardware is by them. So Super Corridor, Simul Chip, Lucky Charm, Gachapon, Devil Charm, Buffer Drive, CSR Campaign, and Boomerang are all done by them.
Oh, so wow.
Definitely someone that has been working with Nisei for a bit.
Oh, it's great to have them do a card in Gateway as well. I presume their schedule was quite busy because you listed quite a few iconic arts there. So
yeah,
must have had a super busy schedule. Are we still on 3 Netrunner streams still? Wow. I mean, just like what a golden age or a silver age at least of Netrunner content, where there's 3 Netrunner streams going at the same time. Incredible. And thanks everyone again for joining me. And hope you can catch up on everyone else's afterwards. And if you leave me now and go and see Metropole Grid or Code Marvelous' stream, then I wouldn't blame you. However, I do have the lead designer and I do have the lead of Alt Arts with me. And we are about to judge competition.
I don't know if Code Marvelous is streaming, but Vesper is streaming. That's the
Vesper's
other one.
Streaming.
I think there's a tournament going on right now.
Yeah. No, fab. And then we get to the Corp side. And we did have not 1, but 2 new cards. Ansel. Designed. Over 100 people watching Netrunner right now. Incredible. Ansel 1.0. Designed by Patrick Gower. Right, you may know as Roseman Appliance, who has the best technical issues. That would be me. Thanks, Goshi. It's a 6/4 century. Lose a click, classic Bioroid, lose a click, break 1 subroutine on this ice, only runner can use this ability. 3 subroutines. 1, trash 1 installed runner card. 2, subroutine, you may install 1 card from HQ or archives. That, I've heard, is quite a strong subroutine. And 3, the runner cannot steal or trash court cards for the remainder of this run. Card's quite good.
What a cool card. That's a cool sentry.
It's very cool. It's very Architect-esque, and I think also it's going to be played in competitive decks. I think it's a very good card.
So
like,
I know...
imagine hitting this.
Sorry,
imagine hitting this, having to have it fire.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, so a little bit of background. I know Patrick done the card because Patrick thought that sentries were a big gap in HB and felt that you could improve HB's chances with interesting subroutines that actually did stuff that impacted the game, and kind of classic. I believe, and if I'm wrong here, I'm sure Patrick will tell me, but the impactful subroutines didn't need to end the run. and impactful subroutines made the game more exciting and made more decision points for the runner. Because running through this is still possible in some way, shape, or form. Sorry, you were saying, Dan?
No, it's just imagine hitting this last click. You're able to install an agenda into the server, and you know that the runner can't trash it, or you install over a card that's in the server. Like, does the runner continue? You know, do you just put a snare in there? Like, there's some mind games that are happening with this card. Also, it is another card that is like that sub is like an end the run, but it's not end the run. So all the Apex Heartbeat players are upset, and I'm sorry for that. But you are playing Apex.
Oh well, yeah, that's very true. Yeah. That's very sick. How disgusting. That's an interesting point as well, actually, because it's not install one card in a remote. You can install a card in Central. So you're running a Central, you've got this protecting Central. You could put something quite nasty in a Central, couldn't you? You could, anything from a price sec to Amaze Amusements or something like that. You know, when they're going
shove a CVS onto a remote so you can purge their virus counters.
Yeah, actually, that's really, really wild. Like the conduit Central run, and you got CVS in archives, and then you pull it back. Wow.
Yep.
Impactful. It's an impactful, cool card. There's going to be some fun stories around this card, I think. Very exciting. And yeah. June, anything to add?
What's also... I'll let June go.
What's that?
Anything else to add about Ansel?
No, I just think it's going to be played, which is always exciting. You know, which like with champ cards, it's always a tough balance finding cards that are exciting and interesting, but also sort of fit the product goals, and it's just always tricky to get them all worked out. But I'm happy that the card. I've been playing with this card quite a lot, and I think it's quite good.
Yeah.
What really I was gonna say is that it's also providing options for ice that costs a good amount, but in your deck that's very impactful, right? So are you going to play this with Fairchild 3.0, or you're going to play it instead of? I know it's a code gate versus a Century, but I'm thinking of it more of expensive ice in your deck, and now there's options. So
it's always good to have options.
Yeah.
Look, like for me, this takes the place of Archer in a lot of decks. Not as in you wouldn't play Archer, you play this, but it similar role where you might have Archer as a one-off, just a little surprise, a little bit of nastiness, maybe something that you know is going to be high impact at some point in the game, and you know it's going to do a job for you. I think Ansel's going to do the same job here. That'd be my personal take. I don't think you're necessarily able to afford 3 of. Who knows? And 3 influence is splashable. Certainly is very splashable as well. Brawn 1.0. Brawn 1.0 is another 6 cost. 6 strength though, barrier. Classic Bioroid, lose a click, break through. And you can install 1 piece of ice from HQ archives directly inward from this ice, ignoring all costs. Very, very relevant. And then 2 end the run subroutines. Only 2 influence. A giant wakes. And the art's very, very cool here.
I love the art.
I think sometimes it's easy to forget ice art because we have to turn our head sideways. That's really quite wild. June, how much do you think bird decks are improved by this?
I think pretty dramatically, right?
Yeah.
This is like a really chunky bird ice. You know, I guess you have Data Raven, you have Bran.
I mean, now you've lost Data Raven as well. So maybe your high impact bird ice has gone, but instead you've got a Colossus bird ice, a giant, as the flavor text says. And bird decks traditionally stronger on the runner side Do you think they got a chance on the corp side as well? Are we going to see burb sweeps?
Oh goodness. I would love to see more bird cards in general.
Yes.
That's something I support highly. I also want to see more bee-related cards, additionally. So, those are things that are just kind of always on my mind, is how do we get more birds and bees in Netrunner? Because we have fans of those in the community.
So I've heard there's a few fans of the birds and the bees in the community. Mr. Cowbird in the chat suddenly wakes up. He's probably watching like 5 streams at the moment. And Sanjay, yeah, thanks. No, that was for you. I presume these are core vids. And it's just saying, yeah, Buzz or absolutely a bee card. Does this community need more birds and bees? Does it?
Yes. Yes, more birds. Always more birds.
More birds and more bees. We've got Appy, we've got Honey Farms rotated. Not good enough, right? Sting. This ice is also quite good. Hive Mind. Yes. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can actually make a bee deck. Probably not quite. Here we're getting close.
I like this. I like this. This is making barriers viable again. Like Paperclip is so strong as a barrier breaker. That costs what, 5 to break?
5 to break.
That's not nothing.
No, not 6 to res, 5 to break. Hey, that's going to cost you long term.
That's pretty good.
It's going to cost you long term. Definitely. This is
for sure.
This is clearly remote, right? This is like got remote written on it. It's Bran Remote 1.0. You're probably installing that border control.
I don't know if you play this in a Jinja deck and like keep some ice in HQ or for when it fires or not, but it does like big servers, right? Because the more you're gonna get some value on putting that, getting that install behind it.
Goshi in the chat making them really super valuable point. This is anti-boomerang tech, right? Because you've got 2 end of the runs and you've got the install ice. So they break the end of the runs, they break through. You got the install piece of ice, the install border control, right? But border control, classic in your Ginger decks. Ginger Sports, I think the stocks went very, very highly up. They're quite a rich deck anyway. This is, I like playing Ginger Sports a lot. It's a good fast rush deck, and yeah, this is going to see a lot of play on my side. I think it's a great card.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, and hey, we've got a rush ID as well. Your vision, June, your vision of HB. I know, like certainly on the runner side, you've talked about colour pie being blended a little bit more for like a really crass way of putting it. Would you say the same on the corp side as well, or do you think something else?
Yeah, so overall in Netrunner, I think a lot of what I think doesn't work about the color pie is mainly just that the kind of architects of A&R divided up basic game elements by faction, which is to say that they took things that are sort of universally known about the game and sort of like divvied them all up between the factions. So, for example, Shaper getting being like the best at tutoring programs, or like that's probably not a good example. Shaper being like the Code Gates and R&D faction, Criminal being the HQ and Sentries faction, etc. Wayland being the money faction, these sorts of things, or like NBN being the tagging faction. These to me are all, I'll just put it straightly, design failures, I think. And they're mostly failures in the sense that they aren't, they're putting sort of an emphasis in the wrong areas of the game in terms of like how players emotionally connect and resonate with different factions. It's not that like Jinteki is the net damage faction. That's not really the thing that gets you super excited about Jinteki necessarily. It's that they're the faction of like trickery and deception and shell game, and like these sorts of emotional ideas are much more relevant to a player's understanding of what connects them to the faction. And what that sort of means from a mechanical perspective in the game is that these sorts of like core game elements, tagging, damage, running servers and multi-access, and sort of like things that sort of everybody, or like having economy, these things that everybody needs access to play the game are going to become more common, commonly spread across the factions. Like you could see a criminal could just get the card maker's eye as a blue card, for example, because in my vision of criminal, they are the sort of like run event multi-access. They do more like run event style multi-access. That'd be something that you'd see more in criminal. It feels more uniquely criminal to me. Whereas Shaper might have a card more like Conduit, and Anarch might have a card more like Want Destruction. And none of these things are obeying that sort of like HQ R&D archives paradigm, but they are sort of demonstrating how there's a different emotionality and a different play pattern attached to each kind of multi-access. So to loop back around to HB, HB has sort of long been the faction of efficiency. It's sort of like the emotional word that gets used to describe them. I don't really love that theme, mostly because they're a German company and it's sort of stereotyping, right? To sort of like lump like efficiency as like their main concept in with like basically everything they do. But with that being said, I think there's a lot of really interesting things you can do with HB's Color Pie. And I think cards like Seamless Launch, Luminal, and Managarm Skunkworks are really good examples of that, where they're sort of taxing you on clicks, generating value, using clicks and money as like sort of like they're a faction that really cares about like how many clicks the runner has. And they're also a faction of recursion, and I think they're going forward be the faction that uses recursion the most out of all 4 of the factions in the game.
I suppose it's like, so I like NBN. It's not because of tags, and I hopefully you'll agree, and you might say no, that's a bad take, Ed, but heaven forbid. I like NBN because NBN for me is like, yeah, come and see what we're doing. Yeah, no problem at all. Like have the guided tour, and
exactly.
Slip a leaflet in your bag on the way out. Make sure you exit through the gift shop. I think that's like super fun.
Yeah, definitely. I think NBN, they're the information dealer of the universe, right? They're the most friendly. They're like the Disney Corporation or Fox News, right?
Yeah,
so it's like
totally.
They have this sort of quality to them, I think, in their gameplay where, it's the tagging element is certainly a big part of what they're going to do, and they're going to be doing tags going forward as well. But they're also going to get new mechanics, and this kind of dovetails into what you'll be seeing going forward in the future cycles. But basically, all of the game's factions, from a color pie perspective, will get new mechanics that uniquely belong to them. So, whereas like tagging is a game mechanic, it's really like a core game mechanic to me. It's on the basic action card, right? So, to me, that's just something I think every faction should be able to do on some level. But in the future, we're going to see new game mechanics and new keyword mechanics that are very faction locked, that you will just see only in one particular faction, as a way to sort of give them that identity back that we might be losing a little bit by sort of like spreading out and equalizing these core game mechanics across the faction.
Yeah, that's thoroughly exciting. I know you've just come out of a bell tower meeting, you were saying before we started talking. And that's,
there's gonna in that cycle we'll have a new mechanic for every corp in the game. That will be unique to each corp. So I mean, that's minor scoop there. So look forward to that. Yeah. But no, I mean, one thing I can say about Netrunner in general is it's been very stuck in its past. The core set sort of established a lot of the mechanics for Netrunner, and the sort of previous designers of Netrunner haven't done a lot of exploration, in my view, in terms of what's mechanically possible within the game. So a big part of what I'm doing at Nisei in all the content going forward, now that we have like this great baseline that is Gateway, is really doing quite intense risk-taking when it comes to introducing new mechanics and adding new gameplay elements to Netrunner that aren't really present, that have not been present in the game up to this point.
Yeah, it's thoroughly exciting. It's very, very exciting, and I think everyone, there's a huge buzz about bashes. When are you going to be telling everyone what the name of bashes is?
Should be in not too long. We have to put together an article to announce it. I mean, I think our creative team, everyone needs a break, They've been working so hard, or not the creative team too, but the community team has just been working so hard on getting all the articles out and working with everybody. So it's going to be a little bit till we till we announce it, but hopefully not too long.
Yeah. Very, very exciting. And certainly we were speaking to Ren and we were speaking to Mike over the last couple of days, and there were suggestions of having another set out this year, which would just be very, very welcome and exciting.
Yeah, I think this we're testing now. In testing, we're on like version 9 or 10, and
yeah.
I think we're locking in. Like, there's only like 2 cards that aren't locked in, I think, in the whole set. So it's just talking about numbers, and then we did the pack split. So it's like basically pack 1 is locked in. We know what's going to be in the first pack of bashes, and then we just have to announce that, and then the next step is to getting all the art made. So that's it's a long journey to get there. Getting all the art made, getting the creative team, getting the cards at real names and not ridiculous names that they have in testing. So things like that.
Listen, I'm still sad about Orbital Superiorities being the name of that card. sometimes you get latched onto the playtest names.
Ocean Source is the one for me.
Yes, Ocean Source. That's one of my best ones, I think.
Ocean Source, yeah. But hey, we don't make the decisions. Jinteki, could we talk about?
I need to do a little There was a good segue point, and I need to talk about it for a second. Is that art for bashes? If people have not seen the article that went up a little while ago around Nisei recruiting for new positions, I believe there is some art positions that are open, and just give a shout out to that because Krembler's done an amazing job as art director, but I believe that Krembler is going to be stepping down from that position, or we're looking for someone to help with that. I don't know exactly how that's going to happen.
I know this is currently kind of interim creative director as well. And there's sort of
there's positions that are being looked for. So if you are someone that is artistically inclined or someone that is good at commissioning art and directing artists,
if you've got an eye for art, you don't have to be an artist yourself. Even you don't have to be an artist yourself.
And designers, because you don't have enough resumes, right?
Oh God, 50 people applied for that role. I have to go through all of it and reply to everybody. But yeah, I was going to add too that like we have board level positions open for and folks who are interested in them. I really encourage you to like apply, even if you don't know for sure if you'll be a great fit, just to feel it out, and we can talk to you more too, because leadership within Nisei is very democratically structured when we're at our best. So we just really we just want to see more people apply and get in the mix, because
sometimes
when I came to Nisei, I came from outside the organization and I just applied and I got the job, and I ended up really enjoying it, like a lot more than I thought I would. So
sometimes it's democratically inclined to a fault. Like, it's a very flat organization, but sometimes someone just needs to make a decision and run with it. And everyone wants to give their opinion, which is great, and we love hearing the opinions, but there needs to be at some point, it's like, all right, we've heard 10 good ideas. Who has to pick the best good idea?
Have you got my application for Nisei president in front of you, Dan? It's like you're reading the anything else to say box.
Ed would be a great president.
I haven't applied
for
yet.
Sure.
There's still 3 days to go. Thank you very much. Pants in the chat. Is there a chief bad podcasting officer role open again? Again? Oh no, open. No, there's not. Pants. Calypso, thanks for joining as well. I think you should stick around, Calypso. We are getting onto, by the way, for those that didn't know, we are getting onto prizes for the competition to come. Kishra, Kat, they're saying it is a lot of work, and I think that's well proved that it's a lot of work. It's high rotation, but equally that means it's not a role or a job that you have to stick in for 5 years, 10 years. Do a couple of years, do your bit, see how it works out for you. If it's something you're enjoying, if it's something you find you've got the time commitment for, great. If you don't, there's flexibility there, and people are willing to step in and help as well.
I think what we saw was the biggest quote unquote problem with Crumbler being the art director was they spent so much time and they're so talented as an artist as well that they were both doing art direction as well as art creation, and um, more power to them because they have an amazing amount of art that's in Update, and I don't know if they have any stuff in Gateway, but um, fantastic pieces, but also doing the art direction at the same time as creation, as well as like your day job, and you know, your work life balance gets out of whack quickly.
And this is quite huge, actually. The change within Nisei is splitting the role of creative director into visual director and writing director. It was clearly too big a role for one person, and that as a reactionary thing, yeah, very, very useful to split the role in two. And as Gene said, well, you can say it in your own words, Gene, or I can read it. For what it's worth, it's pretty extensively discussed, and we're splitting responsibilities in that role. Kremlin's very good at art and direction, says Kat, but they might actually benefit from having someone who doesn't actually do art. Yeah, there we go. Gene is in the chat, Kat. Lev Tet. We were talking on Friday about playtesting, quite specifically with Mavrupd, with Mike. Can you apply specifically for specific formats only? Absolutely you can. Yes, you can apply and say, I would like to do playtesting for future cycles. I'd like to do ban list testing. And if there were enough, I think the problem is, if there were enough ban list testers, enough creative testers, enough set testers, then they could split into teams a little bit more. The fact of the matter is, not enough people will apply for those roles, and the more people that apply for the roles, the more specialised people can become. Yeah, check out the Friday stream. We went in detail about specific decisions that were made on the ban list committee, in particular, how it works and what a day-to-day looks like. So really worth looking into, Levkate. Yeah, it was a great stream actually on Friday. Thanks to Mavrupd for that. I'm going to go and grab myself a glass of water. Dan, great. Maybe you could do a little bit for me. Diviner, a new card. Or June, you could do a bit for me.
Oh, sure. Diviner.
Thanks. Yeah.
Diviner says it's an ice, it's 2 to res, it's 3 strength, it's a code gate. It has a single subroutine, which is do 1 net damage. If you trash a card with printed play cost or install cost that is an odd number, end the run. And it reads your future in a single biometric sweep. This card actually had a pretty storied history in playtest. It actually, at one point, instructed the player to flip a coin. And then I believe it was like, if it's heads, do 1 net damage and end the run. If it's tails, do nothing. There's a few other versions of it that did sort of similar things like that. I'm happy we ended up on this version. You know, we kind of decided against flip a coin just because small object manipulation is a bit challenging for some people. Flipping coins in particular, dice tends to be a little bit easier. Also, you know, we do want to do mechanics in the future that incorporate some randomness. But like, we don't really want people to have to like bring coins or like, you know, just like adding game implements that people don't commonly have. And then also it's just like, you know, if this is Gateway, it's going to be a product that people are going to be getting and sort of like learning how to play the game with. We're not really expecting them to just have a bunch of stuff on hand to play the game. So, you know, we're just trying to keep it accessible and friendly in that way. And also there was just some revulsion, I think, to flipping a coin being in Netrunner. Which is not in and of itself a reason not to do something, but it was a factor in Gateway in particular.
Well, like some people use dice for like randomly determining what card to access in HQ or some other things. So that is possible, but deciding if it's odd or even seems like a good way to have that flip a coin aspect with using the same materials you have available.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so glad you talked about that. I'm back again. About the flip a coin thing, and actually, I'm, you know, having gone on a bit of a rant about it previously, about the flip a coin thing. I kind of get the flip a coin thing now. Maybe I've matured as a kind of game player. That said, I think this
you gotta
is
play more Pokemon. Like,
huge
flip a coin mechanics.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
the thing about coin flipping, right? It's like a lot of the mechanics of, and when Bashes comes out. Oh my god, I almost scooped the name. Oh, when Bashes comes out, folks will get to see, like, we have a mechanic that does utilize some randomness, and it's one of those things where when you're designing the mechanic, there's just sort of like the brute force way to do it, which isn't necessarily worse than the more sort of like ingrained way to do it. So like if Diviner said flip a coin, it's very similar. Like if it said do 1 net damage, then flip a coin if tails end the run. It's a very similar card from a game theory perspective as this card is, but you actually sort of like, you're using an outside game element rather than a game element sort of baked into the game. And I think from a player perspective, people tend to like it more when the randomness is determined by the game implements already in play rather than an external randomizer, which is a completely fair criticism of things like rolling dice and flipping coins and things like that. But yeah, and a lot of it is just perception, right? Like it doesn't feel like, we don't want people to feel like the game is changing into something that is very distinct from the game that they play. So we want to make sure that the cards we're designing reflects the expectations of our players, right?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's done the math yet on how many meta cards are even versus odd, but that is also something that can impact the 50-50 nature of this. Is it
I
actually
believe
50-50?
it was just slightly more. It's something like 55% are even cards, or rather 55% are not odd cards. I'm not getting into a zero argument with people. Zero is even.
Well, I like that it has a math lesson on the card itself.
Yes, zero is
which
not
is
odd.
great.
Yeah, just to clarify.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, and absolutely, Calypso's making a really valid point, and this was my point. I think, although it's unrealistic, it's possible. Calypso's saying, I'm going to build an even-only cost deck. And absolutely, if Diviner was ravaging the meta, you could build an even-only deck as a counter for it. If it's random access, if it's a random coin flip, yeah, Zero's odd. Zero's a bit of a strange card, I agree. Zero's a fantastic card. Yeah, so it's not going to be Anarch. Yes. Diviner, I think a really interesting design card. Is it good?
It's probably not going to see a lot of competitive play, but it is a nice little card, and I think much like Tithe, it has like a place in the game,
Yeah.
Especially when you're learning too. One thing I do like about Diviner as well is that you can chance it. Like if you just observe that your hand has a lot of even cards in it, you can make the decision to not break the sub and just take the net damage.
That's quite
which
cool.
I think is really cool.
Yeah,
it has that sort of, there's a teachable moment with Diviner that causes you to be sort of like aware of some extra gameplay information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lev Katek made that point about 5 seconds before you did. Burrow, we 100% agree with Gene here. If you said flip a coin, I would not like this at all. However, this just seems fun and awesome to me. And actually, odds-wise, it's essentially the same, but you feel like you have ownership over the decision. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, psychology is like a big part of card design. Like how a card reads has almost more to do with what the card than what the card actually does. A card instructing you to flip a coin versus a card that says half the time do something based on some game number is identical from a gameplay perspective, but it's not identical from an emotionality perspective, and that emotionality is something we do try to care about within Nisei in terms of how the cards actually get written.
It's also a mechanic in other card games that are different, right? So flip a coin, when you said that, I immediately went to Pokemon, which is a card game designed for children, which is fine.
I don't know about that. Plenty of people play Pokemon CCG.
Well, plenty of people do, but it evokes that emotion when you think about it. If you played it before, you used to play it as a kid. Oh, flip a coin is something that Pokemon does. Get that out of my Netrunner. So there's definitely that sort of emotion that comes with it as well.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that this has had so many comments in the chat from a variety of people, I'm just going to read a few out. So Mr. Cowbird, Sanjay said, Apparently, Andre's just hit a diviner, and he was pleased about it. It turned the net damage from negative to "you fool, you've hit my odd card." Card games for children. Netrunners designed for children. Yeah, it's a children's card game. Absolutely right. Algebraic asking, good question. Was there a reason why it was odd rather than even?
I'm not exactly sure.
No, I don't know. Because it was from the start.
I'm sure the discussion had, like, the thing that people I think often don't realize is that if there is a discussion about something, or I should say if there is like a question like, oh, I wonder if they thought about this, the answer is almost always yes. Like, the amount of like gigabytes of text files of debate generated over every minutia of every card that gets printed is like pretty overwhelming, I think.
I don't know if you were in the game when Red Team was getting iterated. But...
Oh yeah, I mean that was
man.
literally it was a Dostoevsky novel.
I couldn't tell you. Like, I think on the playtest forums, there's probably like 15 threads that says like a new take on Red Team. I just like to talk about Red Team.
Novels being written about Red Team.
Well, it's the same thing in the. It's not even in playtest, right? Everyone has had the discussion of what numbers are correct on Temujin contract. Yes. And that's literally what it is, right? Like,
essentially, it's that.
And there's no right answer there.
It's
the one on Red Team.
Koga in the chat trying to piss me off. 6. Sorry, Gene, please.
Oh, I was going to say, too, from a color pipe perspective, Red Team is a card that got a change as well from its original version. The reason it specifies Centrals is because that is being moved into the criminal color pie.
Yes.
They're sort of like, they're the faction that gets bonus effects out of specifically running Central servers in general, which is something we're going to see more from them going forward as well.
Because there was a point where it was, whenever you make a successful run on a server, you have not run this turn.
Yeah, and we switched it to Centrals to both for balance reasons to not be as punishing to assets ban, but also because Central Server is a piece of terminology you'll just see a lot more going forward on criminal cards.
Yeah.
Okay, so Calypso has a comment in chat that I want to highlight, not because of that idea, but it made me draw another idea. I want to hear your thought on this. On this June. So Calypso says, reveal 5 cards from the stack if the cost of the cards follow the Fibonacci sequence and the run. That's a pretty cool, that's a silly ability. But what I thought was, I don't know what the ability would be, but can you just play a game of, man, I'm completely blanking. Blackjack. Can you play blackjack? Can you play a game of blackjack with your deck and have something happen if you
like a standoff type effect where you reveal cards, or like rather than trashing cards, you reveal cards from the top of R&D and the stack, and
and then the runner's like, hit me.
Hit me.
Yeah.
Wow. Unfortunately, I don't think we can do that, and the reason is because our cards actually have to be sort of like engine consistent, which they have to be in Netrunner Ease. Writing out the rules of blackjack and Netrunner Ease is pretty challenging. I think we'd need quite a bit of text to do that.
Okay, I'm taking. Okay, so do I have your permission to take this idea over to San Francisco?
Yeah, 100%. Also, I'd recommend we have an unglued.
Yeah, the unglued set's coming.
Yeah, so we've been like kind of brewing for a very long time. Basically, I think since Nisei's existence, like if we did like a holiday set that was just all like meme cards, like basically Unglued is this set in Magic that has a bunch of like fake Magic cards that all have ridiculous abilities, like, oh, if you do the hokey pokey, like you can't block this turn, or like, nonsense like that. And we were thinking of doing a set like that, like a small set like that for Nisei once we kind of get our act together in terms of our production pipeline. And this could be one of them.
That's something that I really look forward to. I spoke to, I think it was Dis about that a couple of weeks ago on the stream. And that's something that I think everyone will be quite excited about doing. Quite difficult to put resources into that when you're a small community. And once again, if people apply for jobs and roles, then there's more chance of fun stuff like that happening. Algebraic saying Turing should have turned the runner's stack into a universal Turing machine. No, but I wonder if there's some kind of eternal combo in Netrunner that can occur with an unglued set. Maybe that's something for people to think about. And apply for design, because no one's applied for design yet.
Oh God, no.
No one.
No, I'm very excited to read everyone's design applications. I'm waiting to sit and do it all, grab like a big pot of coffee and do it all. But
yeah, man. Tough job.
And for those who do want to apply to design, I encourage everybody to do it. It's a great gig. You basically get mentorship from me. If you think I have intelligent and well-reasoned opinions, I'll give you direct mentorship on all your game design work at Nisei, which is, I think, one of the best, if I can toot my own horn a bit, one of the better parts of being a designer at Nisei, just because I have professional experience designing card games and a lot of industry experience. So one thing I look for in an application is people who are interested in game design as a career and want mentorship, because I think it's sort of a moral obligation within Nisei for us to be raising people up who do join and giving people the opportunity to learn and grow and possibly do something professionally that they're doing within Nisei as well.
Yeah.
More cards.
More cards. Sorry, I was thinking about that. I was just thinking that is a really I couldn't think of the word that I wanted to say, but valiant seems wrong. But I think it's quite wonderful that you're willing to do that as well, Gene. So yeah, thanks.
Not a problem. I mean, if you think I'm an idiot, then it's probably not very valuable to you. Assuming you think my design opinions are approximating reasonable, then maybe it's valuable to you.
What a hugely great opportunity for people to be able to work with you, or it's essentially an apprenticeship.
Work with the design team in general.
Oh man!
Right, all the designers at Nisei are super talented.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we definitely have designers too that join Nisei, who I would say were pretty. They're just amateurs, they just hadn't done a lot of content design before. They didn't have a really good cohesive thought process or strategy for approaching content design. And we have a lot of people in Nisei who've just grown so much as designers and who I think are just incredibly good at it at this point. Like, my job has become much easier because they're all so skilled. They come up with good ideas well before I do. So it's been quite nice to see that.
Yeah. Man vs. Trees in the chat. A little shout out to my mum, who apparently occasionally watches the streams. Thanks, mum, for watching them. My mum is a PLO8 expert. She once won £5,000 on a hand. So what's that, like $7,000-8,000 on a hand in PLO8? And Man vs. Trees saying PLO8 on a Netrunner card. If you score the wheel, take 10 turns. Yeah. She used to play PLO. She used to play PLO High Low as well, which is like a really degenerate game. But she won quite a lot on that as well. So yeah,
I love PLO High Low.
PLO's awesome.
PLO 8 High Low is a great game. I've played it a lot.
High Low's real degen, but really good fun as well.
Don't leave home without an ace.
We used to play myself and best man. We used to play 9-card Omar. That was quite wild.
That's degenerate.
That was quite wild. Yeah, that was really quite wild. We used to put quite a lot of money on it as well. Heads up, 9 cards.
Anyway, back on topic.
Sorry, yes, of course.
I don't have all day.
There's a topic.
Yeah, the topic is Netrunner.
Right.
It's please find out more by searching for the term PLO8. It's NBN cards. So NBN probably got the largest mechanic shift, I would say, or maybe like the largest kind of change to their core. Would you say, everyone? Although there's a lot of returns to designs that we know, agendas being score giving tags, Spin Doctor being Jackson Howard 2.0, Funhouse being Data Raven. Public Trail being Ocean Source. Yeah. I
would say that overall it was actually quite funny is Ping was actually a design that was for bashes. It wasn't meant to be in the set at all. It was actually meant to be in bashes. Which is, a fun little scoop, I suppose. But the thing about NBN in general and like what we wanted to sort of establish as a baseline here is that tags are still a core part of how NBN sort of does things. Even though we plan to give tags out in different ways to other factions, it's still sort of like a huge part of what they are as a faction. The other part of, I think, that makes NBN really interesting is they're the faction that has the most get this for that, if you will, of all the factions. Their cards are powerful, but they often don't deny the runner the ability to interact with them. So a good example of these cards is like Data Raven and Funhouse. Pop-up window, Amaze Amusements in this set. It doesn't stop you from taking the agenda. Like, you're going to take the agenda. You're just going to have to take some tags along with it. And I think that really summarizes how we feel a lot about NBN in terms of designing their cards. Is we always want you to feel like, as NBN, they're the faction that gives up the most for like the possible biggest benefit in terms of being able to tag you and interact with you more in that way, or tax you, or whatever the case may be, in different ways, but not like denying you accesses, right?
No, certainly. NBN always wants you in. That's the whole point. NBN always wants you to get in. Yeah.
The runner has to think about not just like, how am I gonna get in, but also I have to deal with the consequences afterwards. And when you're playing against an NBN deck, that should be what it feels like. Is that, yes, I'm gonna get into the server. Can I deal with what happens after?
Yeah, as Chaos of 99 saying, tags you mean free commemorative souvenirs. Yeah, exactly that. Exactly. Yeah.
And now that Trace isn't really a part of the game for the foreseeable future, it's one of those things where, at least in terms of the content we're developing at Nisei, there's more opportunity now to give NBN a new mechanic, which at some point you'll get to see. So, like, a lot of this boils down to like what we're doing in Gateway is we're sort of like presenting that fundamental idea of what the faction is about, so that if you're a new player, you can find something that excites you, that connects with you emotionally. And then we want to look to really not really give you more of the same, but build on that in sort of a new and exciting way in our future content.
Yeah. That's so an interesting point from Critva. Are you planning on doing something different with Link in the future? Saving Zelda, agree.
Currently, no. Currently, the plan is to eventually not have Link on IDs unless Link is a relevant stat. Or sort of like a runner is sort of like assumed to have 0 Link unless we put a number on the ID. Is like sort of a possibility for us going forward that we're sort of kicking around. We could certainly find a use for Link, given that there is like sort of a lineage of it. But obviously there's no Link cards in Gateway, and there's no Link or Trace cards in the next 2 cycles. So it's sort of like, a bit obsolete. But we do actually have brainstorms where we talk about, if we did do Link, what is a court mechanic we could design that interacts with Link that's not specifically Trace? And I think Link is very cool. It's cool to have sort of a countable stat that can be referenced by other cards. The question is just sort of like, how do we make that interesting and interactive and less niche, or just purely economically driven, being a big part of Link, because it's kind of like bonus credits. We're trying to move away from things that just are functionally credits, if that makes sense, from a mechanical design space.
Yeah. Which is easier said than done, because it's kind of like I was going to reference office supplies as like a really great use of Link.
Yeah, I agree. I really like office supplies. That's one of the better Link designs, in my opinion.
Yeah, or like the Sunny Cloud Breakers, maybe another good use of Link as well, where it's like they don't take up MU if you've got Link at certain, rather than it just being a maths battle between 2 sides. Yeah, agreed. And to just clarify, Man vs Trees was asking, I'd read Trace was being scaled back specifically for startup, not intended to be done away with. Just to clarify, it's now a deciduous mechanic rather than evergreen mechanic, so it's not something you'd expect to see in every set. That doesn't mean it's banned from any design talks.
So what we do when we design a set is we sit down and we decide what mechanics we're going to intentionally include beyond evergreen mechanics. So historically, Netrunners just sort of had a grab bag of mechanics, and they've just sort of like always appeared in every set. And as more mechanics have gotten added, they've just sort of like continued to appear and get used. So the game is sort of like accreted, a fancy design word of saying built up, accreted all these like old legacy design elements of the game that are just sort of like being used, like interspersed throughout the game. That makes the game, that has a lot of significant design problems, at least for us. in terms of the products feeling focused, reducing mental complexity in terms of learning the game, causing products to feel more cohesive, etc. I basically wrote a whole article on that topic alone. But the TLDR essentially is, we're probably going to do Trace again one day. It's just not going to be for a while. And when we do it, we're going to do it big. And it's going to be a big theme in a set. You're going to see a lot of like 5 Trace cards in like, 20 Trace cards across all 4 factions or something.
Yeah, sure.
We're not going to just do like a couple per set or something like that, because that's not really in line with the product vision of how we're doing Netrunner content going forward.
I suppose, we could probably ask about every mechanic in the game, but maybe some relevant ones that a couple of people have asked. Can we confirm that brain damage and bad publicity are still going to be printed, given that they're missing from Gateway?
Yeah, those will be in the next set.
Are there any brain damage cards in the next set?
Oh yeah, tons.
Just a couple.
Brain damage is definitely a component of the next set.
I'm just staring down the camera. Yeah, I'm not going to give anything away. Brain damage may play a part in the next set. Who knows?
Yeah, those are what I consider evergreen mechanics.
Yes.
Things like, was mentioned Alliance, consumer grade, things like that. Like those aren't really like things that we're going to do a lot of by any means. And then there are some things that are sort of like subtype mechanics that we'll keep doing. Like we'll keep doing cybernetics, we'll keep doing political assets potentially. But when we do them, we'll do them sort of intentionally and with a sort of direct callback to the past.
Yeah, that's really cool actually. Political assets are arguably one of my favourite mechanics in the game. So I think that's really cool. I didn't know that. That's really cool. Wayland. There's some interesting stuff here. There's some stuff that's not so interesting. I love Built to Last, and I love Ballista, and Malapert's a bit busted. Thoughts?
Someone please take my 150 IPOs that I have in my basement from me. I can't believe we got rid of that card, but I love the new version, right? Government subsidy.
So
AKA Restructure 2.0.
So Dan, I've still not got an IPA. I've managed somehow to avoid getting an IPO. People have tried to send them to me for free, and I won't let them. And I'm going to try and go through my Netrunner.
Do you want some free Netrunner alt arts?
I would love some free Netrunner alt arts.
Alright, send me your address. I'll send you some Netrunner alt arts, and that's it. I won't put anything else in that envelope.
No, that would be great. I will ask someone else to open them outside my house, because there's been accusations that cards coming from the Boswash region contain anthrax. So I will be opening them in a hermetically sealed environment before I let them in my house. IPO infestation. Absolutely. I will not let the curse enter 92 Wood Lane. No.
Yeah. Government subsidy is a great card, though. It just sort of speaks to the fact that for us, you'll see this going forward as well. We're going to do a lot less neutral cards, way fewer. I think there's only 4 neutral cards in bashes. So
across both factions, if it's okay for me to say.
Across everything.
Across everything.
Wow.
Across both sides. So
both sides, both packs. Just 4 total.
4 total neutral cards.
Many more faction cards.
Yeah.
And government subsidy is already a shift in that direction, right? Where it's sort of like taking cards that have normally been neutral but really are kind of secretly a faction card. Like, to me, government subsidy is a Wayland card. It's like a rich get richer card, which is thematically very resonant to them. So just moving it into Wayland, just a natural fit for the faction.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty big scoop, but I'm surprised the chat hasn't absolutely blown up. So how many cards are there in Bashes? What, it's like 120, 130, something like that?
It's the same size as Ashes.
Yeah, so it's about 130.
About 130.
65 twice,
65 twice, and there's 4 neutral cards across.
That's crazy. I didn't know that, but I'm bad at reading spreadsheets, so.
Yeah, in general. And I'll have lots of scoops. I'm planning to do like a little mini scoop article where I just talk about like some details of the set in very unspecific terms, so people can start speculating as well.
Very, very exciting. Very exciting. Very, very exciting. One last card I'd like to talk about. If we go into here, and I think.
There's Pharaoh.
Sorry, no, Palisade.
Oh, yeah, White
sorry.
Space as well.
White Space is super cool, but Palisade is a card I'd really like to talk about.
Palisade's the quote-unquote new one, the one we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, this is a card I'd actually like to say I had something kind of prepared to talk about.
Oh, cool.
And it's a card that I think really shows quite elegantly the kind of design direction we're going in general in Nisei. And the thing about it that I really like, and the thing about it that I tried to promote, and I think, I don't know if I designed this card, I might have had something to say in this one. But Wall of Static is a card we've all seen and played with for a lot over the years. But Wall of Static doesn't instruct you on a good way to play Wall of Static. And what I mean by that is it's very open-ended. It doesn't sort of imply its use to the player. And one thing we're really trying to do more and more and more in every set is find cards that in some way imply their use to a player, so that while you're learning the game is implying an effective strategy to you. But it's not slapping you on the wrist. It's not saying like, hey, install this on your remote and jam an agenda, you fool. It's saying, you read the card and you're like, oh, I want to take advantage of this ability, so I'm going to install Palisade on my remote. And then hopefully you connect the dots to, oh, I can install agendas behind this because it ends the run. Yeah. You know, like that's our goal. That's our hope, is that we have more cards in the game that are helping beginners, not just in Gateway, but in all of our products, feel like they're both clever for figuring out how to use cards, and the cards themselves are at least guiding them in the right direction. So I think Palisade is one of the best examples of that in this set.
Yeah. I think generally across the board, what Greg in particular did a great job of was designing cards that teach you how to play a game well. Yeah. You know? Like, run's good. Putting the right ice in the right place is a good thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
These are all things that we take for granted, right? Because we've been playing for ages. But
of course,
you know, one thing, a big initiative at Nisei is new players. Obviously, we're doing Gateway for a reason, right? And we just want the community to grow, and you know, we expect people to fall in and out of playing, but we just want there to be that accessible point where, like, all those things we've all taken for granted over the years, we just understand, like, oh yeah, and the runs are super good on your remote to rush behind.
Yeah.
We want to have that more ingrained in the design of the cards themselves, so that people can learn those same lessons we learned years ago, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly that. I think that may be the thing that I think Gateway's done. Apart from the fact that it's infused a player base of what was 1,500, 2,000 people active, up to, I reckon, we've doubled that and then some. So Bristol, as I said, is putting in an order of 30 plus people. That's one city in the UK. Do you know what I mean? And like, there's maybe 20 or 30 orders that size just in the UK alone. I'm just going to read out a little bit of chat, and then we're going to get on to the prizes and the competition.
Competition, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll also say I have to take off. 2 hours is kind of my cap. I have plans in the evening because I have to run to the doctor. But
it's been, of course, June. Thanks ever so much for joining.
It's very much been a pleasure, and you know, feel free to have me on anytime. I'm usually around. So
you'll need to watch the VOD. You'll need to watch the VOD. There's going to be, I believe, there's going to be some interesting stuff. I've heard there's going to be a readout of part of a fictional piece.
I'm definitely going to watch the VOD, 100%. I wish I could stay, but you're so fun to talk to. We spent all my time, unfortunately.
No, Gina, I'm very, very thrilled to have you on, and hopefully I'll have you on again.
Yeah, for sure.
Have a great day.
Take care, everybody.
No, you take care.
Bye.
Thanks ever so much. Dan, it's just me and you, and maybe that's for the best. I'm not gonna lie. You haven't got any You haven't got any children around, have you?
I have. Well, I do actually, but I have my noise canceling headphones on, and no one in this room can hear the debauchery that might be talked about soon. So I'll just warn that my commentary is going to be kept PG.
So, Dan, Would you like to take like a 2-minute break to grab some water or anything like that, just while I read through the
Oh,
chat?
I can.
You pretty good.
I just ate it. I just ate a cheeseburger on mute while June was talking about card design.
You
so
ate a cheeseburger. You ate a cheeseburger. That's quite wild, right? I'm just gonna go up here. I'm gonna pull down. Oh, Cabernet Sauvignon. Right, I'm sorted as well. Shout out to Lidl, £3.20 bottles of wine. This is from Lidl. It's £3.20. It's rather good. Shout out to Bar and Woo. Thanks for telling me to buy wine from Lidl. Bar and Woo, a Michelin-starred sommelier in the chat. Just a little bit from the chat first before we go into this. That was Stimhack 2.0 will give 2 brain damage. That would be awful design. Mr. Cowbird, Silver Age alert. There are now 4 simultaneous Netrunner streams going. Goodness me. Whoever the 4th is, congratulations. Chaos 99, please don't do political assets. I love political assets. Lev Katet, Ballista is a great card. Political assets are probably the most broken cycle, and I agree. That's why I like them. Speaking of which, bring back Garin. Those IPOs are going to be collectible someday. Yes, you can collect them. You can collect them now, can't you, Dan? You can collect 150 of them at the same time. I believe
every TO has a stack of IPOs that they'd be more than happy to give you. So if you're looking for them for a cube, or maybe even like getting it so that you start with IPOs in your draft deck, just hit up your local TO and they'll throw them at you.
Yep, I believe. If you wanted to get a stack of like 30 IPOs and run a new player tournament and give them free alt arts, I'll tell you what, those cards aren't available anymore. That's a great way of getting players into the game. I'll let you know right now, people love free stuff. And they love free stuff that they think, at least, is very exclusive. Initrus, Britain has already enough Anthrax. Anthrax were a great band. Thank you very much. Chaos of 99. Building a better world. Thanks you for giving them an in-faction transaction. I agree. New Year's Eve scoop is definitely coming. BNBN, we'd love an article with insight into design plans for bashes. I agree. Calypso, Raspberry Crick for archives. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like specific to servers. I think that's something that kind of drifted out.
Yep.
Yeah, it kind of drifted out of the game. And to see it coming back into the game is really cool. Algebraic, looking forward to my friends learning the game, swapping Palisade with Tau for the first time. Yeah, absolutely. I'm really keen.
It's funny how Ollie, Shipment of Head Crabs, keeps on referring to Malpert Data Vault as Crenulation, because that was the original name of the card. And I think they had to change the name because Palisade is also a name of the card. And Palisade and Crenulation, they're very similar words, you know. So
they were 2 very different cards. Yeah. Jen saying she's here. They're here for the reading of the fictional piece.
Yes.
Hey, we're just getting a snippet for today, everyone. There's more important things to talk about. Mammoth trees. That's all it takes me to get onto the Black Lodge video again. Chaos 99, there's 4 political assets in the game, 2 are banned, the other 2 are banned, restricted at some point. The design principle is interesting, but the cards themselves are broken. I agree. DanB. Let's look at some competition entries. First of all,
yes,
I want your hot take on this, and give me your honest opinion. What did you think of the competition entries?
It was like, I was told I was going to be on the stream, and I was like, okay, cool, we can talk about Netrunner. And then I realized there was a week later, I realized that there was a competition involved because it was the last day, and I got really stressed out about it because I realized that like everyone's been putting in like so much cool stuff, and it's just such a great highlight of the community doing a bunch of different things, using their strengths and using the things that they're passionate about. And like Sanjay throwing out a special, I think he has like a sub competition in your competition around poetry, and then just like things that people are passionate about are just like so cool. Yeah, like Sanjay's put a competition up. Another one of my guests, I believe they're embedded. Oh no! I've got Elks Vauban is probably playing, no doubt, not watching the stream. I'm talking about you. I'm just typing
about you on stream. Ilksorban is a teacher, but Ilksorban has donated the ID cards, and we'll talk about prizes in a moment. Dan, what did you think of the quality, though? Higher than expected? Lower than expected?
Everything's fantastic, right? Like, it definitely
Yeah.
shows, like, these is things people are passionate about, but, like, yeah, it's all great. It's all super quality.
I was shocked, right? Number one, I thought, do you know what? I've run a competition because I think it'd be quite fun, and hopefully I'll get a couple of people who enter. And I don't mean this in kind of like putting myself down. I didn't realise I'd get such a reaction to the stream in the first place, and like 400 or 500 people watching a video on Twitch.
Day 2, when people realized it was going to be a daily cast and it was going to keep on going and going, and it got really it picked up quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then for people to actually engage in the competition as well, and I don't know a NetRun competition that I've judged that's had this many entries. This is the first.
You had about a month to get entries. Memes are a hell of a drug, and there's a lot of very talented people in the community.
I'm hugely disappointed. For one, I didn't get any boat entries.
No boat entries. Yeah.
No.
Well,
and I won't accept any boat memes that I saw in the community that weren't entered to me. So we are just stuck with.
That was on. I think it was on Facebook.
Unfortunately. So I'm gonna go through in kind of I genuinely Number one, the one thing I would say, Dan, is I don't think there are any bad entries.
There are no bad entries.
I can quite honestly, I can happily show everyone every entry that I got without feeling like, oh, I'm gonna have to talk about this one. It's a bit weird. Everything we got was good. So this is one of the earliest that I got. It's from a very good friend of mine, and they were a guest on the stream a few days ago. This is from Algebraic, from Ian Gallagher. And I woke up to this.
This one confused me. This was the one where I was just like, "This. I know this is funny for a reason. I just don't know that." And it made me feel dumb. And that's fine.
There's that classic meme where it's where there's the moth that's memes absolutely were an acceptable formats for submissions. Yeah. There's a meme with the moth banging the camera in front of a very beautiful scene or something like that.
Okay.
And so I woke up and I was, I've got a message on WhatsApp, and Ian's messaged me with this. What the fuck's going on? Very terrified. It made me laugh for a solid 5 minutes when I look at it, and I was put it away, and I look at it again. I loved it. So I thought that was ace.
Upload that to NPC, get some printed and handed out as prize support at a local tournament.
Oh, for real, a lot of this is going to be uploaded in one way, shape or form. There's a bit of chat going on. Do please as well, while June is there.
June's handling June opened a can of worms saying there might be political assets in the future.
I'm so fucking looking forward to political assets. Political assets is some of my favourite cards in the game. I'm very, very excited. I didn't know that.
Let's get an organization that can actually balance them correctly, and it'll be just fine.
Heaven forbid the playtest and design team and development team might be able to work out how to do it properly. What about this, right? I'm going to stick this one in the chat. So I got this. This was, I think, my first entry. And I think it was the first time that I announced the competition. And it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. I was just getting into bed, and I received this message from Slapdash, Ben. I believe Ben's playing in a tournament in Austin this evening. One of my best friends in Green Level Clearance Discord. A tiny little haiku. Working together, those no longer required, raise each other up. And that was about Tau. And I just thought it was wonderful. So obviously the formatting's not right, but working together, those no longer required raise each other up about Tao. I just thought it was just very, very, very beautiful. Haiku inspired by Gav's plight and Tao helping him. A beautiful, beautiful poem in 3 lines.
That's the one thing I missed about spoiler season is we got so much cool lore at the beginning of it, right? We had those awesome fiction pieces and people like feeding off of that and creating like haikus and thinking about those stories. That was like one of my favorite parts of the spoiler season.
So like I felt very super privileged that people directed it in my direction, and I'd really encourage people that did enter stuff to the competition to share it on Discord, on Facebook and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like objectively, everything I received was very, very good. There was nothing I received that I did not enjoy. So, like, please, please, please get stuff out there. And this is in no particular order. It's just where like my mouse takes me. Yeah, it just came into sick haiku. Like, isn't that haiku just absolutely beautiful? Very, very beautiful and very like thematic. We did see this earlier in the.
God, freaking earworm! I had Queen stuck in my head all week.
Oh no, we're not on that one yet.
Oh, this is
We're
a
not
different one.
We're not there. So this was Nebrunner.
Oh,
Still
this
sucking
is
at
so
Netrunner.
clever.
So
I think in terms of just like submitting something you're passionate about,
yeah.
this is so cool. It's
So I'm
just
just
like
gonna.
they
What
set.
I'm gonna do is post that in the chat because I'm very bad at working out how to get the sound working. But
Yeah.
like-
but this is the cube that Tao is holding.
yeah, so this is the Rubik's Cube that the Tail's holding, right? And then it's got a very, very sick bass line. The music's wild behind it. It's a bit of a call out as well, which I really enjoyed. And again, it was very early in the competition. And I liked the fact that it was something completely different to what I expected to receive, which, to be honest, was like huge bonus points for me. I just thought it was great. It was quite original.
It receives a little bit of a dock because I can't see the full dog in the background. I would like to see more dog.
Are you a bit
I'll
of a Doggo
figure something
fan?
out.
Are you team
I am
dog?
a doggo fan.
Are you team
Oh,
dog?
I have both. I enjoy a good dog. And all dogs are good.
Are you team dog?
I refuse to comment. Mostly because my cat is sitting next to me.
And cats are really cool, aren't they? They're really, really cool. Doggos are lovely. I yeah, it's great stuff. And then, do you know what I like the most? Is just the little flare at the end. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Just like
I
a
love
little,
that.
yeah.
I love that a lot. Thanks, very biz. Do you watch that? If you haven't had a chance to watch it, the music's really wild as well. So yeah.
And that it just shows off what I was talking about earlier about people showing off their passions in the ways they submitted the contest entries. Like someone, Spray Bizzle clearly was interested in Rubik's Cubes and Tao's lore and Tao's picture and was inspired to do that.
Exactly. And it shows, do you know what? It shows that if you have talents, you can bring it to the community and there's a place for it. So.
Oh, yeah.
I've got to do another contest, Ed. Yeah, well, I've done 2.
Well, why don't you do a contest username equals pants?
Pants.
Yeah?
Like, fuck's
Why don't
sake.
you do a contest on your stream? On your
constant
your
demanding
podcast.
from Pants and from Orbital. Can you do this for me? Can you do that? If it's not you two. Yeah, the loot fix is... Oh, right. Alright, fine. I'll tell you where I'm up to on loot. Alright? Extract. I can't believe I'm doing this on stream. Extract from Lou. Turtleback Mountain. Page 72.
Alright, hold on. I need to get comfortable in my chair.
Threat level alpha.
Okay, we're good. You can begin.
Can I just set the scene? So,
My eyes are closed.
Right, so let me set the scene. Steve has had a bit of a bad day. He's back on the moon. He didn't want to be. He's been told he's got to go to the club because there's a certain person there that he needs to be tracking. It's like one last job kind of thing. He's retired with family, and he's like, no, I can't do this anymore. I'm 40 years old. My back's hurting. He's having a moment. Right. So, where should I start from? It was a far cry from Milton Keynes. I knew the roundabouts, overgrown with roseweed and sundew. We used to hop over them as children. Mother's shouts of "Jeremy!" as I trashed mine into the verge, diesel spilling out the side. Would have lasted better than the jank I'd drunk at Wildside, though. Rob the bartender probably served better underground drinks than this. Drill runner's fault, of course. Not directly. I've been following that cunt for months. My answer of "I haven't got anything left to give" in a game of push your luck had backed me into a corner. Howard laughed as he looked up through the San Casino roof. You can sort that shit out for me, Brucey, there's darling. I looked up into the night sky, and there, unmistakably, on the lunar logo, an extra B. BN. That fucker Draw Runner's work. Neither minds were twisted enough to reference a late 90s biscuit advert. There we go.
Alright, hold on. Are you getting paid by the reference?
What do you mean? What? Is there
I love it.
References
I love
references to what? References to Netrunner. Yeah. There might be a few.
No.
I'm gonna try and hit every single fucking card in the card pool.
No, that's a good point. Yeah. I heard that the amount of words you're up to on this, you could probably just self-publish this on Amazon and make some money.
Yeah.
I
think I'm on 42,000 words. In America, you call that 420 words, I believe. So 42,000 words.
Yeah.
At least 5 of them are cunt. And it's something really to look forward to. And as Jen says, exhale, I was a bit stressed about reading that out. A lot of work went into that paragraph in particular. And
just for reference, I want to just for reference, chat. The Wizard of Oz is 40,000 words.
Wizard of Oz is 40,000
An
words.
average novel, according to Google, is 90,000. That's by today's standards, and a lot of those are writers getting paid by the word. So don't take that for granted.
Sorry, are you suggesting that I haven't written that many words?
No, I'm saying that you have written enough to be considered a novel.
Myself having written that, it's whether it becomes a saga. I think it might be Turtleback Mountain, the Drill Runner saga.
Yep.
I think is what we might be looking at, but
that sounds like it's a New York Times bestseller.
Thanks.
Or at least on some Amazon chart for a day. So take that with what you will.
It was interesting. We'd stabilised exactly the same amount of viewers the whole time. And as soon as I said the word cunt, one person dropped. It's as if my mum decided that was the moment to stop watching. I'm so sorry, Mum, if you are still watching. I'm just doing it for the views. But yeah, no, it will exist. Yes, Ed is my dad. Pants, agreed. Obviously, I do look old enough. Let's get back to people that are actually talented, and let's pop this one out. So, this, for some people, you can't see, can you? Because it's popped out in the wrong place. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, I do apologise. I'll pop it in there. There we go. So this was for someone, this was in one of their top threes, and I thought it was ace as well. I just thought the level of competition was superb. So, want to talk to me about this, Dan?
This is another one I'll be honest, I don't really understand, but I know that it looks fun. Is it just like it's good, right? Like that's a good looking piece of art.
So I think what's particularly sick about this, apart from anything else, is have you seen the weave on this? The weave, like the texture for the card. It's very, very sick.
Oh yeah, yeah. Love it.
Yeah. I personally, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't get it. June at one point had this first, before other deliberations.
Is that a card from the Android board game?
I feel like this is an Android board game card, and this might be directly from the board game. Pants might be able to help. It's Floyd. It's Floyd from the Android board game.
It's Floyd. Okay, that makes sense then. Yeah.
Makes a lot more sense. That's very sick, and that's why it looks like a board. That's why it's got the weave.
Yeah, we figured it out.
Very sick. Very.
I like it. I like it.
The first lesson for handling biros is simple. They must not be allowed to feel.
Which is very on point for Floyd's lore. If you've read the novels that have been put out.
What would you recommend? Just I probably will actually delve deeper into the Android lore now that I've got a bit more time on my hands. What would you recommend as like a first read?
Oh, the novellas that they put out more recently are really good.
Yeah.
I'm blanking out what the names of them are, but all the novellas they put out were really good. Like, the older stuff with Floyd in it, honestly, the writing is hit or miss. I believe the first book is good. The others are a little lacking, but they're fun reads. And then definitely the World of Android hardcover splat book.
Okay.
Is a lore dump, right? It's not a novel. It's just like, here's a bunch of cool stuff about our world.
Yeah. I've seen a very good price for World of Android recently, locally to me, so I might finally be picking it up.
Not really doing anything. It was definitely someone at Fantasy Flight. It was just like a passion project to them to get that all together.
Yeah.
But now that they're not really going into the RPG space, they've let that go to somewhere else at Asmodee. They're not really focusing on RPGs. I don't think we're gonna see much out of that property, unfortunately. But who knows?
Which is a real shame, but I suppose it means that other people can design within that space at least, and like Shadow.
Like honestly, like I like Genesis as a system, but for a cyberpunk game, like playing something like the Sprawl using the Netrunner world is I think a superior cyberpunk RPG experience because you can use all the lore stuff, but then the rules are a little bit lighter.
It's not a world I've entered yet. I did actually just today swap a gateway deck for an into an RPG DanB type night on the Sprawl.
Hey,
so
that's
cool. I've given them a gateway set and said, but I need in on your group. So that's my swap. I think I think it's beneficial for both sides, to be honest. So
yeah, honestly, just handing out gateway cards saying like, "Hey, play Netrunner with me" is beneficial to both people, anyways. So
yeah, like totally. Everyone in the chat as well. You should be buying extra sets. I'm sure you are anyway, but buy extra sets if you can afford it.
A couple extra sets to get my friends into the game.
Yeah, and do you know what? Like, I'm not a charity or anything like that. Equally, I'd rather have more people in the game than not. So, don't be shy to hit me up and say like, send me a couple of your extra sets. I'm buying a ton of extra sets to give out to people at various points. I can send them across.
I'll be doing that eventually as well.
I know you'll be doing that as well, Dan. It's exactly your like style. I'm ripping on your style. So yeah, exactly. Next one. I think we're getting close to prizes, aren't we, Dan?
Soon.
I need.
Sorry, I had to go on mute. I had a barking dog.
That's cool. Right.
Sorry about that.
So I need to actually look at who won what. I need to go into this one.
Yeah, how did what
Right,
did
so
we
not that
come
one,
to
not that
as
one, not that
our?
one. So that's 5. Right. Oh, right. Oh, so close to the prizes, right? But not quite hitting the prizes. But honestly, a wonderful effort as well. We got a whole story, and I don't think I saw a single cunt or fuck in there, and that was quite impressive. I'm just scrolling to be able to open it. That's the one. There we go. And it says it was by T. Pickwin. T. Pickwin, I believe it's probably bedtime for T. Pickwin. Not in at the moment, but we got
4
a full story
pages.
here.
Wow.
Yeah, 4 pages story. It's cool, and it was kind of like, so do you know like Why I Run?
Yeah.
Yeah, that classic like RPG. What's it called? Choose your own adventure thing.
Yeah, choose your own adventure type of
So T. Pickwin essentially wrote one of those where like goes through all the factions, and then it goes into this like very soft story, like feels very gateway about like what Netrunner's all about. I loved it. I thought it was a really cool idea.
That's really cool.
It's a very sick idea. I like, and it didn't feel at all forced. It was particularly something that I enjoyed, was the fact that it didn't use any characters. So, like, this is something that you could only 80s kid realise fun that lies behind the words text-based adventure game. Yeah, this was exactly. It was very much like Jen. I will be sending you a text-based adventure game called Why I Run that you will thoroughly enjoy.
Oh yeah, you definitely will. Check out. Actually, it's
Jen,
linked on nearthub.net.
Is it? Oh yeah. So jump
it's at the bottom of
into
the page.
you will, Jen. You will love that. That will be your thing. But no, certainly I'll be hopefully publishing this somewhere, and I really enjoyed the story, and they were very, very close to what I'd call the prizes, quite unquote. It's awesome. It's awesome, and clearly took a lot of time, and clearly I really enjoyed reading it. And a very cool idea as like kind of a narrative version of the Why I Run thing. So thanks very much, T. Pickwin, if you're watching this after. You know, Dan, like, I get sort of 30 or 40 people watching the stream, and then like the viewers go up to like the highest is 400 I've had. So many people watch this back afterwards.
Yeah, we're like solidly competing with Metropole Grid right now. That's pretty rough. Actually, you know what the problem is? Is that before 40, 50 people watching you stream because that's what they had to do. That's what they had for fun. But now they can just go on JNet and play with System Gateway.
Yeah.
So
those
there's
40,
16
50 people
viewing right now. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
I'm glad you're here.
Don't watch. Play Netrunner instead. Elks Forben has just messaged me and said, I forgot I've been playing Loveman. So Loveman, a streamer, the classic Cooker versus Cookhead matchup that's streamed on Loveman's.
Building decks. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, you can build decks while having the stream open at the same time.
Yeah, so I'm just going to type dickhead to Elks Forben. Yeah, so we're getting into prizes. So speaking of Elks Forben, let's talk about the prize for the most person who tried the hardest prize. That prize, or people that tried the hardest.
And I think what we came to, we had like a 3-way tie for this, right? Or we had a tie when we were deciding on it.
We did. I think at this point there was a lot of competition, right? You aren't even the only stream.
It's all quality.
We aren't even the only streams
subjective.
talking about Steve Loop. Is anyone honestly taking my content? This is my certified content. Is there anyone else talking about it? I want to know names. I want to know links so I can raid them. Let's get this finished up then. Very, very, very disappointing. Luckily, it's the last day of my stream. Dan, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I got you on a sloop.
That's okay. That's okay.
Stream.
We're gonna share the VOD around, and we're gonna force people to watch it. That's the key.
Absolutely.
And there's 15 lovely people. Actually, remember when I said, "Hey, what are you doing? Go play some Netrunner"? We did lose a person from that, so sorry about that.
We did. Links aren't in
Oops.
Gateway. No, they aren't. No,
Yeah.
Link isn't
Yeah.
in Gateway. I'll
Send
send you
you
a
the
link on
link. You can't send a
Discord.
link.
Yeah.
Can't do that. It's not legal. It's not allowed.
Shocked. Right. So effort prices. Right. Sanjay's literally typing. Thanks, Sanjay for being such a support. So, runner up effort prize. Second runner up. It's a joint effort prize. Oh look, want to be famous? I can't even. No, that's not the link. Don't click on that. I can't bother to delete it. I'm not going to go into console.
Oh no.
Don't click on Isabueso.
Yeah, you gotta ban that person.
Yeah, I will.
I saw the same one happen in Cat Streamer earlier. So those bots are out in force trying to get you to buy viewers.
They're fully.
You don't need
shocking.
your bot viewers.
No,
But now we're
the
talking
numbers. The numbers
about-
have gone up massively. All of a sudden, right? Okay.
Great.
I'm just going into console. Wow, 77 people watching Metropole Grid. What's
This
Metropole
is
Grid
such
ever done for
This is such an
Netrunner?
earworm. Yeah.
Oh wait.
Okay, so this video was such an earworm for me all day when I saw it, and I'm just like so impressed by the lyrics and everything that happened with this. So for people, definitely go and watch Don't Clot Me Now. As a fast advanced player, as a shaper player, it's just fantastic. Showing off his fantastic alt arts, his awesome tokens. Overall, just a great video.
We just posted it in the chat there. I can sort out the audio to play this, but it will sound very echoey, and I can't really be bothered.
Yeah.
I would much prefer.
Definitely go and watch it.
Sorry, go and watch this.
Everyone
link
needs to watch it.
after.
Yeah.
Take your time, watch it,
Yeah.
and then watch it a second time. I don't think you'll catch all the references because it's so fast. How Sports Metal's comboing out with Seamless Launch, and it's a bit of a mess in terms of the combos going a bit too fast. Green Haggle, MCG, thanks ever so much for joining. How long have you been playing for viewers, Ed? I have no idea how I even managed to get 20 viewers when there were 4 Netrunner streams going on. I had planned this stream a month ago. If I'd known, I would have delayed a day and done it tomorrow. But there we go. I would have done it tomorrow. It happens. And thanks ever so much, Dan and June earlier joining for 2 hours. Ilks Vorben, you finally made it. Apparently, it was more important to play with Andy.
The new cards than to hang out on stream with us.
You can play the new cards tomorrow. You never get this chance again. And look, apparently cards are spelled in German.
That's what we talked about.
Who knew? So
Also 2.5 hours in, yeah.
2.5 hours in. How are you doing, Dan? It wasn't my fault. I wanted to rush
That's
through the
doing
cards
good.
in the first 5 minutes. That's what I said. That was my brief for the stream. Unfortunately, Dan wanted to talk about all arts. And just a reminder to everyone, it's still here. Why not add all arts to your order when you're ordering Gateway and Update?
Yeah, go to this link that I'm posting in chat. That Bushi is posting in chat right now.
Bushi. That Bushi is posting in chat. In case you don't know who Bushi is.
That's me.
Heaven forbid.
That's me.
DanB is Bushi in the house, in the chat.
Yeah, that's my
Bushi in the
secret
chat.
identity.
So,
Okay,
A
so we
prize.
got Don't Clot Me Now.
that
Was, that was a runner-up prize, right?
That was the prize from Ilksorben themselves in the chat for trying really hard. And I have to say, huge amount of effort in that one. And they've won a playset, Innistress, of the original playtest IDs of Loop, of Lou, of Zaya, and of Tau. You've got a prize that no one else can have.
John Loop. Yep.
Yep. So Ilks Orban, you can sort that shit out for me. Thanks, James. Teach you a lesson not to turn up for the stream on time, you dick. But no, thanks very much for sponsoring that first prize. And because you didn't turn up on time, James, I've given that prize to a second person as well. Because it's not because we can't make up our minds, of course. It's because you didn't turn up on time. And the second person, it's a name you may not know in the Netrunner community. It may be a name you've never heard before. I'd like to introduce you to the work of Zeroth Maxima.
Phil.
Dan, would you like to talk to me? Would you like to talk to me? I know Zeroth Maxima's not here. Zeroth Maxima obviously doing one of two things, either looking after SL Moon, or more likely watching Metropole Grid stream, along with 70 other people.
Probably. I'll see him in chat. So Phil obviously was inspired by that fateful Friday stream, and said, "What if, instead of this being fan fiction / fiction, what if we made movie posters? This was a movie, feature film."
And obviously, it's taken a degree of work for. We can see this full screen, can't we? We can actually see.
Right now the stream is maybe that's just me, but I'm just seeing your YouTube. Don't Clock Me Now is still up. I'm not seeing the image.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, perfect. That's because I'm really shit at computers. It won't take a second, and we'll do this.
Stream is still on YouTube. Okay, cool. Chat agrees with me.
There we go.
I'm right.
And we're good. No, that's because I was trying to hide.
Perfect.
Something else.
Sneak Door Beta.
There we go.
Turtleback Mountain. That's right.
This is Sneak Door Beta. Renee Osmond.
Great
Steve G. Cambridge. Yeah. Stunning. I enjoyed, in particular, the fact that it's got that kind of Star Wars thing. We've got a main character in the foreground and then a sub-character in the background. I would probably have placed this higher if there was Fenris kind of very faded up in the top left or in the top right.
Well, I think that was before the Sanjay lore of them meeting in Wildside with the Fenris nearby.
I can't remember the stream. So the Fenris lore, is that Sanjay rather than myself?
I don't. So I did have to take I did go and get dinner in between. So I don't know if that was Sanjay or that was mentioned in the stream. Something running archive send tweet. That's right. Username equals pants. That's a funny joke.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. I think it probably was in the stream just from the idea that you can as Lou DJ Fenris into Steve.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a good idea, right? Like that's a good car. Like DJ Steve is a thing.
And the fact of the matter is, Lou's trying to find any way possible to get into Steve. So DJ Fenris is just one.
DJ Fenris is obviously the easiest way.
Easiest way.
And the most, yeah.
Choose on March 28th. Choose Wild is.
Choose Wild. Yeah, this one definitely accentuates the movie
tagline.
poster more than the last one.
Yeah, and a massive shout out to Tarnation as well.
Rest in peace, pup. So
Yeah,
sorry.
Rip Pup. But we've
Bitch.
got Tithe instead, and I think I'm not the most sci-fi person in the world, but this looks like BB9 to me.
Wait, is that in the actual art itself?
Like BB8. It's BB8. Babe 8. Okay.
Okay, so it's in the art. It's in the
Yeah.
actual art itself.
That's original.
It's
That's original.
Yeah.
Originally, there's a fucking BB8
that's in Precision Design. Yeah.
in there. Yeah. Tarnation back there is truly next level. Yeah, I think that's one of the most incredible things that anyone did in Cross. I've marked you down, Phil, because you're not watching the stream at the moment.
Yeah.
You were winning it, but you're not here. Pretending that you're my biggest supporter. Whereas, username equals pants has been here the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
By the way,
who
everyone,
has the best podcast? Well, I'm not going to say any names.
Check out the Slums
Let
Cast.
the evidence decide, right?
A lot of people have been asking for me to be a special guest on Slums Cast to balance out the fact that Shadownet has let a lot of people down recently. And so maybe that's something that's going to happen in the near future. Who knows? Who knows? Talks through in progression.
Quick shout out to Liga for the pup art. I have it on a face mask, being a good citizen and wearing masks everywhere. I have a nice pup mask that I wear out. You can get on Inked Gaming.
Is there any way that I could possibly, if I went on to Near Earth Hub? Sorry, yeah, I have been on Slumscast, but I've been speaking to #Orbital Tangent about being on the Slumscast again, actually. Pants, speak to your man. I have also. I think actually my first podcast appearance was on Slumscast.
Same.
Sorry.
Yeah. I was on Slumcast for the Worlds episode.
Yeah,
Great
yeah,
episode.
yeah. It was
Talk
a great
about how
episode.
Snare is a really good card, which is fun and a true statement.
Do you know what? I really enjoyed you on Slumscast. It's probably my favourite moment of the Slumscast so far. Was you on Slums. It was really good.
That's great to hear. I'm curious to hear what I said.
I don't know if it says more about Slums or more about you. But I
think it was a very
way.
natural, easygoing atmosphere. Good conversation.
I was absolutely wankered. It was the end of worlds, and they put up a post and said, like, if anyone wants to be on the Worlds podcast, do you want to jump in? And I'd built a pyramid of beer cans in front of me, and I was like, yeah, I'll definitely be on. Yeah, let's go. It was really good fun.
I was. It was Saturday night for me, which is good. So that was just me. I was sitting around watching my son watching the stream, watching the streams, right?
Yeah.
Sunday, when I participated in every side event imaginable, I would have been.
You did.
That would have been silly. I would have been very silly on that podcast.
Yeah.
But I was a lot more kept together because it was a Saturday recording.
No, it was really good fun. And,
okay.
And
so
actually,
those are our effort. Those are our most effort runners up, basically. But now we have top 3, right? And sorry, I'm trying to get ahead because I do have to. I do have to go in a little bit. So
hey,
I wanted to make sure we hit those.
Well, let's go fast then. And we're going for third runner up. What did we decide? Which one? Which one was it?
Third runner up.
Of course, no. Very, very,
was...
very easy. Yeah, no. Very easy choice to be in the top 3. Very hard choice not to put in second place. I think when you dedicate a stream to creating an entry to a competition, you certainly deserve a degree of respect. And respect was gained.
And then sending then the people watching the stream over to the daily cast afterwards.
I know. With a raid. Absolutely phenomenal. So, first part of this, if you haven't seen it before, DJ Fenris, lore. We've got Steve here, and this comes into the story. Steve turns up the club, and Lou's there already. The deep lore. My big face. Yeah. It's just beautiful. It's stunning. I loved watching how Sanjay did it, having that kind of like spotlight on Lou, and how it changed his skin tone. It's very, very clever.
Now, when we were compiling the votes, I actually voted for his other card, not realizing they were together, just because I forgot he did this one at first. And I voted for his the other one, which is part of this, which is his Funhouse alt art.
Right,
I don't know
so
if you
let's
have
go
that
on to that
available
one.
to show as
I've
well.
got all of
but
them.
I just love that for the time from joke to execution of everyone's bouncing around in the Funhouse, but poor Jasminder's off on the side, not allowed in.
So this is the final version. I don't think a lot of people have seen this, but it's the final version of Funhouse, available on Sanjay's shop at Make Playing Cards. Yep. The final version. And what's the coolest thing about the final version of Funhouse?
Well, wait, where is it?
It's the net.
I think my favorite part is just like the very, very large unless there, but then
unless
it's just like unless the
one that takes one tag. And poor Jasminder.
Guess what Jasminder can't do? Can't take tags.
Avoid the first tag. No.
So sad.
No, you can't do
Everyone
that.
else is having fun.
And the arms.
The cat.
Illiterate,
a
absolutely.
little reference with the bird, Data Raven.
Yeah, Data Raven's gone, and I love like the change post stream, of putting like the mesh on the bouncy castle, just to make sure that it was very caged in. That Jasminder couldn't do what I used to do, where it's like, no, your time's up on the bouncy castle. You've had your 10 minutes. And I'd get off, I'd pretend to put my shoes on, and I'd run back in for 2 minutes, and I'd do a little bounce. And
yeah.
That's
what I have to do.
No.
Our neighbors across the street, every year for one of their kids' birthday, always gets a bouncy castle, and it's okay for now, but once my son gets a little bit older, it's gonna be a problem, because he's gonna want to go over there and jump in the bouncy castle.
I don't think there's anything better than jumping in the bouncy castle. And I think Stephen Lou enjoying Tao,
golden hands, Tao, yeah,
flying, Zaya having a good time as well, away from the kids. Sometimes you need a bit of time, and there's a civet cat at the top as well. Wonderful, because it's not an alt art without a civet. Great
so
art.
what the top three get? Did they also win? What did they win?
So Sanjay would have won, and sorry, just complete. I need to open this one as well. I don't know if everyone's seen this before.
You did miss a little bit of the fiction read. You can go back into the VOD and watch it, or you can wait until the launch of it on the launch of that novel in Barnes and Noble stores near you.
I promise, I will do a straight-faced full read of the fiction. This was the original comic that started it all off for Sanjay with the Stephen Lee post-stream. So last night was amazing. I wonder where Steve went. I'm thinking, I'm back, puppy. I went out to get us coffee, but I didn't know what you liked. So I got an Americano and a chocolate spiced 3 nutmeg frap. Hopefully you like one of these. I'm happy to have either. You pick which one I get, Steve.
What a great tying of lore and mechanics.
Incredible. Lore, mechanic, tie. Stunning. I love I like the fact that it's Lou on the left hand side, Steve on the right, and the kind of story tells itself, and everyone's suddenly piling in. Zara, Phil, you won a prize. You get a prize.
Phil won a prize. He wasn't even here to see it.
Phil, you
Ready
get
was.
a playset of the original the
Play
Gateway testing art IDs, runner IDs. Phil, coming your way. The nearest Barnes and Noble is about 4,200 miles. That's far too for Leeds.
Listen, I assume like we are a backwards country in America that still have things like bookstores. I don't know if those still exist in more civilized parts of the world. But yeah, Barnes and Noble is basically it over here.
I regularly go to my bookstore to find presents for people to give them so they can sit on shelves and not read. There you go.
What I like most about this comic is it was clear that you and Patrick went to bed because it was late at night and you were both very drunk. And you wake up in the morning and Sanjay has this beautiful comic ready for you.
It was ready the next morning, and
yeah,
you know, like if we had sore heads before, afterwards our hearts were warmer than our heads were cold.
Yeah,
let's put it that way. No, it was lovely. Very, 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 very lovely.
So that was third.
That came third, and I think it attests to the quality of what we received through this competition. That came third. Sanjay,
second place, very wholesome as well.
Oh, I mean, I think the most wholesome, arguably.
Yeah.
And also the most meme-worthy. And I think what...
Well, I mean, the subject material itself is meme-worthy.
What inspired me the most, and this is why I put this at second place... second place out of... Like, second place in a good way rather than a bad way, was this is from someone that does not play Netrunner.
Oh, really?
Yes. This is from a stream friend.
Those are the best. Well, let's try. You need to go fix that problem.
Oh, they've played a couple of games. So
okay. Good.
This is Predictive Planogram. And this is a 2-part card. Having learned from, I think it's David Lee. Am I right in saying? Cards printed in 2 parts. So this is part 1. We have Predictive Planogram. And if you see in the flavor text, it says, you can't stay in your corner of the forest waiting for others to come to you. You have to go to them sometimes. A Milne from Winnie the Pooh. And we see Eeyore and Christopher Robin and Pooh have clearly gone on an expedition, Operation Expedition, to go and find Eeyore. Eeyore's having a really bad time. And Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh have gone out to help out. Because if nothing else, Eeyore's a little bit miserable all the time.
Now, just quick correction. David Lee did not do this piece. It's a different artist that did the NBN cards. But still, a story told in 2 parts. A double card, if you will.
It's Bruno Baxter.
Yep.
Yes. So Bruno Baxter, and then we've got part B of this classic art, a diptych. A diptych. Thank you very much. This is in the chat, and probably should have corrected me. This did talk to me about diptychs 2 weeks ago. And so part B, Public Trail Operation Gloomy Day. And we've got Eeyore looking rather gloomy. And there's a degree of, I think, where are Christopher Robin and Pooh? I think this is my main concern on this art. Is Eeyore's clearly sad.
Yeah, and this is the second part. It's not the first part. It's the second part.
No, the second part, and the flavor text is "Oh bother, Winnie the Pooh."
Yeah.
and I don't know where childhood friends. Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh are.
We could take this the other way. Now, I think in the art, as Netrunner players, we know that they're kind of, at least in my mind, the lore is you're chasing after something, and then it turns around and it chases after you, right?
Yes.
So that's what They are, but I think they're reversed in here. I think this is the first one. Eeyore is being sad, and then Christopher, Robin, and Winnie are gonna come and fix it.
And I think that's quite wonderful. Actually, if it is,
Yeah.
public. So Eeyore is very sad first, and then that's what a
I'm trying to make it as
wholesome
as possible,
take,
right?
that actually NBN so NBN are the good guys, but they're like, if you think Eeyore is sad, don't worry, Christopher Robin and Pooh are there to save him. And that would be very NBN,
because in
actually.
the first one, Eeyore's sad, he gets a tag, and then in Predictive Planogram, not just gain 3 credits, Christopher Robin's coming, but also draw 3 cards, Winnie the Pooh's coming to save you as well, because you get both.
Yeah. That's quite cool, actually. Maybe that's the right order. If Jen is in the chat, I don't know if Jen is in the chat. Congratulations for coming second. I'd really like to know which order you want that. And this saying the walks have been repainted in blood, which seems worrying.
Walls.
The walls.
That's very worrying. That's the other interpretation. One interpretation of the card order is definitely more worrying than the other. But I think this is a like all art is open to interpretation. So just take that with what you will. So
yeah, I particularly, do you know what I particularly liked was the kind of the left field approach on this, where like it's very easy to do memes and actually let's take a meme from somewhere else. And I thought it was quite wholesome and at the same time quite terrifying, and I enjoyed that as like it was very NBN, I would say.
yes.
So like it was
Right.
It was Disney Channel. It's like literally Disney Channel in the UK have just put their prices up, and everyone's going mad about the fact that Disney Channel put their prices up in the UK, and like customer service is going down. At the same time, they're like, but our content is incredible, and like you can watch The Lion King. Do you remember The Lion King? The Lion King was a film that you enjoyed when you were 8 years old. You know, and so like I'm like, yeah, I really like The Lion King. I like the opportunity to watch The Lion King when I need to, and I'm gonna pay £72 a month to be able to watch The Lion King when I need to. So I enjoyed like side Disney characters. I very enjoyed this. I thought it was great. Well done, Jen. You've won second prize. Top prize.
All right. Shout out to Q Witwa in chat. NEH near Eeyore's house. That's
near Eeyore's house. Wow. Sick. Right. When those arts go up, I'll put those up on Make Playing Cards. I'll speak to the creator, and I'll put those up as
now
the
there is a bit
of
So usually so this is my normal suggestion when there is a funny Photoshop of a card before. I usually don't put that up as a store. I usually either put them out myself and give them out as prizes, or put them out with no additional fee, just whatever the printing costs are.
So how do you how would you do that as a creator if you wanted to do something?
If I just see a funny thing like this, what I would probably do is I would go on Make Playing Cards. I would upload the image to print out a bunch of them, and then usually give them out as prizes at a local
and give them away as prizes. That's really cool. Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
That's usually how I would do that. I think Phil actually has a bunch of fun arts that have that have some art that was used by Fantasy Flight and stuff, and he does the same thing where he just like has the files that he uploads them to NBC and prints them out and give them out as prizes.
Oh, cool! I'll learn how to do that. That's brilliant. I can do that. So we've got a winner. Everyone,
do you have a winner? Drum roll.
We've got drum roll. It's something that we've only been waiting the last 28 days for.
The winner
for me,
of I don't even know, the daily cast.
The daily cast competition for things that I wanted people to send in to me to win a prize. I'm very pleased. I won't use Nisei frames on store stuff.
That's what I was talking about. It's usually like,
yeah.
hey, someone's obviously just photoshopped this onto a Nisei frame. They use some art. Hey, that's probably not a
drum
good
roll
idea to put that
over the
on
top of
your
that.
PC.
Over the top of that. Yeah, no, we won't do that. Then we'll do something else. It's very
We'll
easy
figure it
to
out.
do. And the drum roll, and the winner is. I hope they're in the chat still. They deserve this. It's Calypso.
And
if you haven't seen
these
these before,
like, what talent has been hidden from us?
Yeah. So
like,
I'm just gonna do.
Them messaging me and saying, "Yeah, I want to do like the entire Jinteki faction in this style." I'm like, one, you're mad, but also, yes, please.
Yeah. Please.
Like
do every single card, please.
Yeah, and I was like, Calypso, let me know when I can help you get your storefront set up and make playing cards, because like it's a really cool style, you know, and they fit Jinteki as a faction so well. I love it. Analytic is, and like if I was gonna pick a winner, it has to be Analytic Void, right? Like I love the card itself, but then also
so
like
for
having
yours, it's Analytic Void. Yeah.
That skull, like the art forming a skull is so cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's something quite extraordinary that Calypso's created. It's a new form of Netrunner art. Like, it's not memes. It's not.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like this.
I've not seen anything like this before. So it's not just ability as an artist, but it's ability as a designer as well, and they're two very different things. Then, you can be a very talented artist,
for sure,
and you can be a very talented designer. But to be able to put the two together in 4 weeks and create something like this, I was honestly, I saw the first one and I was quite shocked how good it was. I'm not gonna lie at all. This is probably one of my favourites, Kakarambai. It's rather beautiful.
Oh, yeah, the fox. Yep.
Yeah, and the brushstrokes of the fox.
The brushstrokes, the using like color in a very evocative way by using it to focus on the parts that are important, in a normal black and white setting, all very, very awesome.
Stunning. Flower Sermon. It reminds me of one of my favourite holidays ever, when I went to Bordeaux. And there was a row, it was in May, and there was a row of blossoms. And I remember the blossoms just coming over the road, and it was just stunning. And very, very beautiful. And longevity serum is like a real meme as well, isn't it, with the fish?
But then also like the ink around the fish is just like all around just a really nice piece of art.
Yeah. And I Calypso's in the chat, so Calypso, if anyone's got any questions, I've got a question or two for you. Calypso, obviously you did this all yourself. We know this. What kind of background have you got in art? Because I don't know you as an artist. Maybe I can. Do you mind if I grab you on for like 5 minutes, Dan? Are you okay for 5 minutes? Are you okay for 5 minutes if I grab Calypso on?
Yeah.
Yeah, you sure? Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I do have to go in a couple minutes, but yeah, I can stay on for like 5,
we'll go
10
5 minutes. Yeah. Calypso, have you got a mic set up as well, mate? I know you do normally. I think you can hear me.
Calypso's setting up. Okay, so my assumption, I'm gonna waffle a bit while Calypso's getting set up. So it looks like this is this is done digitally, but using some very nice brush packs, using whatever photo manipulation app or illustration app that they're doing, which A plus, like it's really easy to, when using like a tablet, to have a very cartoony look. But actually making it look like a physical medium like this, especially with the ink coming off around the piece, is really awesome looking.
Yeah, I think actually, like, for me, what I enjoyed the most was the ideas behind it, rather than the I've no idea on art, but like, thanks Calypso, and I'll join Dan into this call. There might be a little drop for 1 second. There we go.
Mic testing.
Yeah,
Hey.
good.
Awesome.
Hello, we're all there. Right,
We're there.
Calypso, we're just talking. Congratulations for your win in the competition.
Well, thank you. I feel so honored that you chose mine. First of all, I don't have any Netrunner playmats, so I was just like, I want that playmat, so I'm gonna win this competition.
Yeah.
And here it is. I started with 2 ideas, and then 2 became 3, and as new decks, new cards came spoiled, I was like, I gotta make that.
Yeah.
And so that's just so, I just wanted to make them all. And I figured, like, I thought about it. I was just like, Jinteki is like this, especially when everyone started talking about the Restoring Humanity, the main card for it. Everyone was like blown away by the art. I was like, I would like to make some arts for all of these things. So excited to make them.
Yeah. And they came out fantastic. And you might not be aware of this, Calypso, but you're pretty new to the community, right? You haven't been playing a super long.
No, so I dipped my toes in like maybe 2019 for like 2 weeks, and then I was like,
okay,
I came back to 2020 November, but I've been trying to get some games in every day. You guys know this.
Yeah.
But this is the first time I've made anything for any card game for for Netrunner or anything.
I think it started with I don't know if it started with a couple of creators that were doing alt arts, and it just slowly became part of the community. They're just like alt arts being a thing that are really, really huge for a certain group of people, both in terms of like prize support, but then also kind of just with proxies becoming legal, with Nisei taking over, being able to go to like your game night store, like game night event, and showing off your cool customized deck of like the arts that you've chosen as what you like. So I think that certain people really like collecting alt arts, myself included. So I need to get yourself a set of these.
Very included. Yeah.
I know it's ambitious. I know I mentioned this to you, Dan. I would love to make, because I think that when I was first playing Netrunner, when I got snared as a runner for the first time, I fell in love, and I was like, I can't believe that this card exists. And Jinteki is like such a cool bluffing game and a mind game, and making all these like cards in alt form was so fun for me.
Yeah, so I think my suggestion to you is start with the things you're passionate about, right? So the ones you have an idea for. And then just like go from there. Like, not every card's going to be competitively viable, but do what you think is fun. And if you have a cool idea, like the Anoetic Void, both a really cool visual idea attached to a very powerful card. Like, if you just put this pack up on Make Playing Cards right now, it would sell well just because of that.
I would definitely, 100%. I'm packing 2 Anoetic Void in pretty much every one of my decks at the moment.
Yeah, that's what the playtesters are saying.
Yeah. I'm putting Anoetic Void in my Architects of Tomorrow in my HB. It's there with Mega Skunks. It's cool.
Yeah, that's the. It reminds me very much of the food coats and red coats meta of days long past.
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
gonna
so,
save us from that. Game changer.
I'll be working
That's why
on
it's not
putting this
banned.
up, and
Yeah.
I'll be working on putting this up, and I know Dan, you'll help me put it up there.
Yeah, I can help you with the logistics, but yeah, take your time in terms of like what you want to put up, right? Like, is it just gonna be these 5 cards? Or you're gonna do more? Like, I'm excited to see what's next on your mind for Jinteki.
I'm excited too. I only make these when I'm in the mood, and I, between November 2020 and today, I have logged 530 games on Jinteki, on JNet, and so on my free time I've been painting.
So
Nice.
a question from the chat. Apart from everyone saying, "Please, can you do more of these?" And honestly, like, it was a split fight. I'm not gonna lie. At the same time, I was very certain that you were gonna win, and I forced through the win on points. That said, a lot of people are asking, "Are you gonna do more?" And an interest saying, "Do you have a background in this style? Is this something that you've done before at all? Anything like
No.
this?"
No, I was like, I want to make something that is Jinteki like, and I want to make an entire motif of them, because one card is like, okay, that's cool, but if you have an entire theme of cards, then they all pack together in a deck, and you're just like, wow, that's art.
Because it's really funny. I think you sent me the Restoring Humanity card, and if you look at that, I was like, "That's really beautiful." Wow, okay, that's really beautiful. And that was it. And then, like a week later, you went, "Okay, Ed, my submission's ready," and you sent me this. I was like, "Wow!"
It's like, what do you mean? You sent me the submission
Blew
last week.
my fucking mind. Yeah. No, really incredible work, Calypso. Also, very fun games with Calypso. I've had very fun games with Calypso as well. Jump on GLC. Calypso's always looking for games, aren't you?
Always. Tag me,
Always.
ping me, whatever it is.
Yeah. Find a game. I'd love you, Calypso, to make a full deck of this style. I'll let you know what the list should be. Prana Condenser is probably a card you need to work on. And we'll get there.
I actually would welcome that. I know that there are some cards that so the reason why I picked Kakurembo, I showed Dirgil this first, and he was like, "Oh, that I would actually like that." He likes that card. He likes that fox, but he's like, "I don't know that Kakurembo would make its way to my deck." But I was like, but it spoke to me. But if you have a list of like Jinteki most used cards, I know I've been using the, what's the other one, the Cipher one, a lot.
I know the one you mean, the little clicky one. What's it called?
The Urtica Cipher, which is basically like installed snare.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
The new version of Junebug.
Yes.
Yeah.
Urtica Cipher is the new Junebug. What's the best way to contact you, Calypso, if there was a need for Nisei questions?
Oof.
That's
so
funny.
you've got
DLC.
so Calypso, you've got the creative director of Nisei asking if they could contact you.
Asking for your contact
Calypso.
information. So that's pretty cool.
That is so funny. I'm on GLC all the time. I have Steam Slack, but I don't really go on it. And to give you guys an idea, I have an idea for a runner alt set also. Just when I have free time. I don't want to get your hopes up, but
I think
when
this
I have
would
free
probably
time, famous
Yeah.
last words.
this would probably not be looking for you to do a alt set. Probably this might be asking you to do a future set.
Well, so it's interesting. So we have a bunch of different creative stuff that Nisei needs, right? It's not just future set stuff. It's also Akira does a lot of our commissioning art for promos as well. And the great thing about promos is you can go a little bit different in style.
Yes. Yeah. Totally.
So that's also an opportunity. So but
yeah, we also need promos. Oh, this is saying exactly the same thing as well. Yeah, no, what a great opportunity to do like a mahjong set of promos from the 2022 world champion or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you've got Calypso does the mahjong.
I wouldn't be if Nisei put out a pack that had that ID on it as like, hey, here's our game night kit pack 2 for the year, and it had that ID in it, I wouldn't be surprised.
No.
So
it's very wild.
Not saying to do that, but a card of that quality. Yeah.
Every single card in that set is punishable
that's it.
Quality. Yeah, no, Calypso, you've done a great job. I'm gonna shoot. I think, Dan, have you got anything else to say this evening?
I do, and my son has stuff to say too, just because he's like, Dad, please pay attention to me, so I'm gonna have to go in a second. But I just want to give a huge shout out and huge amount of thanks and praise for all of the creative people at Nisei. Actually, everyone at Nisei has worked their butts off over the last year plus on getting this set out the door and advertised through all the community members. Like all the community people at Nisei, the design, development, playtesters, like holy crap, the amount of volunteer work that went into this has been incredible, and it really warms my heart seeing so many people talking about it on social media, people that aren't necessarily known in the Netrunner community, but known in the board game community talking about Nisei now. Like, we're getting a lot of eyes on Nisei in really great ways.
Yeah.
Just huge shout outs to everybody. They did an excellent job. And then also, if you are as a community person at Nisei, I would like to be, if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm on StimSlack. I'm on Discord. I am, man, what's my name on Twitter these days? If people have any questions, I think it's just Dan Bouchard _ or something like that. Yeah, just reach out to me. My email is on nearthhub.net if you have any questions about the website, or need help with anything in the community. Feel free to reach out to me. More than happy to help. And just also a huge shout out to one of the huge community members, Ed. You have been killing it the past month with these streams, and I want to make sure that you get the recognition you deserve, because it's been fun. It's been a highlight of, I think, everyone's day to be able to pop into the stream and see what's going on. So, shout out to you.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks, Calypso. Thanks, Sanjay as well. Yeah, I'm gonna do my little sign off now. I only got a few here. It's getting late. Yeah, I'm just really pleased that I got 400 viewers on a single stream, and I think outside of that, I averaged like 30 or 40 people a day watching the stream. Like, I've got 60 or 70 people popping in every day for the past 28 days. I had 70 people coming in every single day. So that's like incredible for a Netrunner stream to go for 28 days and have 70 people every day. Amazing. Like, I couldn't believe that. I thought it was something that I was going to do for like 10 or 12 people, and hopefully I could use it as a teaching tool. And how big it got was phenomenal. So thank you, Dan, for that. Thank you for joining me this evening. But more importantly, thank you everyone that's in the chat and everyone that's watching afterwards as well, because there's a lot of people that watch the streams after the event. It might not be in their time zone. A lot of people enjoy this on catch up, and that's really cool. And I don't post to YouTube. I will do, but just a few final shout outs in the chat before I go. Innitorous and this. What's the best way to contact you? Calypso's obviously doing art on Bashes. Dan, can we say what the name of Bashes is? Can we do a spoiler on?
No, Ren would kill me.
Dan, do you know how many people I've brought into the community and maintained within the community? I can give you my stats. can we do a reveal on the name of Bashes?
I know that the only reason I'm saying no is because I know Spencer is planning it, like planning something that's more planned than anything I could think of. So
Spencer last night, and I'll tell you this story after the stream. Spencer wasted 2 hours of my evening yesterday doing a little puzzle. So Spencer owes me a little bit. It was maybe my fault. We also
I will let you know that the name of the next set is going to be coming soon, and it'll be cool.
I think what's important about the name of the next set and why people should be excited is because it tells the setting within the name.
Yeah. It's not just like, oh, it's
Ashes.
It's
not. The name is hardcore.
Yeah, and it's also like it's very thematic. Yeah,
very
it's like
thematic.
It's like Mumbad, right? Where you hear like, oh, it's the Mumbad cycle. It's like, oh, cool, we're bringing cyberpunk to India, right?
A lot. Yeah, totally. Something really to look forward to. Jen, Hammy, Calypso. This was my first spoiler season, and it's been every step of the way amazing. Calypso, thanks ever so much, and congratulations on your first place prize. Thoroughly deserved. Jen, I've really enjoyed all the chat and getting to know some new people and having a good laugh at least once a day. Yeah, no, it's been an absolute laugh for me as well. Maverick D, Sophian, Labour Ed. Yeah, it was a bit like pushing a rock up a hill. Unfortunately, or fortunately, other people were there to catch it on the other side, push it back to me, and I had to push it up again the next day. But at least I didn't have to push it up myself every single time. And Scoops, Innitress, Next Generation, and Calypso. I need to check in. Dan, anything else you want to say?
I think I'm good.
I would like to say, everyone, please check out Alt Arts. Pick an Alt Art, tag it on to your order. It is supporting actual working people. It's a charity, but it's a charity for people that are doing amazing things for Netrunner. And go to Artist Colony. And that's what I'd say. Apart from that, thank you all ever so much for joining me over the last 28 days. It's been very humbling seeing the numbers, not just right now, but the numbers over the last 28 days. It's been very humbling. And I'm shocked that you all want to watch me, and I'm sorry that you all want to watch Metro Grid a little bit more, and that's because he's a little bit better than me, and this is not salty. And
people want to watch. People wanted to watch games today and play games, so
I
that
think.
Makes sense.
Do you know what happened, Dan? I wanted to as well. I was sat there and I was like, I don't really want to stream. I just want to play Netrunner. That's all I wanted to do. And then someone in the Bristol group said, "Oh, is anyone around for games this evening?" And then like 3 people messaged and said like, "Oh yeah, I'll play games." And I was sat there going, I'm not allowed to play games because I have to stream. It's not fair. I want to play games instead. So thanks everyone for joining me. I really want to play Netrunner, so I'm not going to be streaming tomorrow because I really want to play Netrunner. I'm glad you all do. I'm going to
be playing Netrunner as I'm playing D&D tomorrow. Don't tell my D&D group they don't play Netrunner though, so they shouldn't know.
Another stream in the future. How do I get into D&D? Dan, you're gonna help me with that, aren't you?
All right, we're gonna do invite me on to Sweeps Week, your next streaming venture, and we'll talk about D&D.
I've never played a game of D&D. I'd love to. Yeah?
Perfect.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll get you started.
Amazing. Dan, have a lovely evening. Thanks ever so much for joining me.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. All right, bye, everyone.